welcome back to the Overwatch Atlantic Showdown. We had an incredible last match where Envious was finally dethroned. Let's see if this next match will be just as exciting. I have a good feeling about it because our first team playing is one of the oldest brands in esports, and true to North America's mixing pot, features 3 Americans, 2 Swedes, and an Australian. Together, they make Fnatic. Pretty well, because they used to be Fnatic, but they decided they were going to break off, start their own player-owned organization, and take it all the way to the Overwatch Atlantic Showdown. Give it up for Reunited. I know you guys are hyped. I'm excited, and no one is more excited than our analysts and our casters, so I'm going to give it over to Zoe on the desk.
Oh yeah, we are excited for the upcoming match. Reunited and Fnatic, 2 teams who showed us quite some games here already. And I mean, what a tournament it has been so far. Cloud9 dropped out, Envious now left us. Everything is open, everything is possible. That's how it feels to me. How's it for you guys? I
said it yesterday, I'll say it again today. I have no idea what's going on here.
That's why we got you here on the desk. That's really what we want from our talent.
I just feel like every upset that could happen has happened, and now we're left with these survivors. I mean, these teams, we didn't expect anybody to be where they are right now, especially Envious, 57-1. The dream is over. A great dynasty, for sure. They've done it, but...
Yeah, that's good. They did well.
Dynasties always have to crumble, and like it happened today.
Yeah, act like it's all over, guys. I mean, you know,
it's all
let's hope they bounce back from this. I don't know how severe they're going to take it.
It's over.
All right, Hug. We also love you for your positive attitudes here you're bringing to the table. But let's talk about the 2 teams we have coming up, Fnatic and Reunited. Starting with Fnatic, what were you guys thinking of the performance those guys have shown us so far in the tournament?
I think they're just like Rogue, where people didn't really expect them to win. People were saying, oh, Misfits is the one. Statistics have shown that Envious is going to lose to Rogue. But Reunited and Fnatic both, they have shown throughout this tournament, they've come here and they've played much better than anyone has expected them to. Either of these teams in the grand finals is going to give Rogue a run for their money. Reunited has finally come together, reunited, and is playing ridiculously well here. And I think they're going to take this game.
I don't know. I feel like Fnatic won that game against Misfits the second time around in a bit of a weird way. The one map that they really struggled with against Misfits was Dorado, that King of the Hill style. They said it's a bit weird the way these European teams play it. And then they turn around, they lose their map, and they win on Nepal. I don't understand what's going on there. So I'm going to put it positively and have to assume that these guys have really bounced back impressively from the mistakes that they made earlier on day 1 and have come through. Now, there's no second chances at this stage of the game, but they know Reunited well. These guys haven't played in an official game ever, but they scrim all the time, and they scrimmed a lot before this week. IDDQT was saying it on stage. So these guys will have a good understanding of each other. It'll just be the super sneaky tactics that would have been held back. The kind that you actually don't get to try against anyone because you never know when you're going to need them.
The fact that they've practiced together, though, shows that they are quite even. If they think they could learn something from each other, they're trading, you know, games back and forth. Yeah, they know each other's mistakes, but they know each other's, like, why they're good. Then they both have the same chance that you're... But I think Reunited, just a little bit,
Okay, you would put Reunited on top of this matchup?
Yes.
Okay, how about you, Hug?
We've been continually wrong together. And I would love to see, you know, US versus EU matchup. So I'm going to go with Fnatic. I mean, I've been picking them, doing upsets earlier against Misfits twice. So
Fnatic, your boys. How about you, Mitch?
Reunited have got a lot more experience than Fnatic, especially on this kind of situation. I think they know each other quite well. I think if anyone's going to have the sneaky stuff or have had the time to develop the sneaky stuff behind the scenes, it's Reunited. I'm going to have to give it to them purely from a longevity standpoint. I think those guys thrive under those tough conditions. And Kib, for a rookie coming out of nowhere, performing the way he has so far, I think it's going to be Reunited in a 3-1.
Okay, if we're looking at both of those teams and the way they had so far in the tournament, the teams they played against, do you guys feel that Reunited has really been tested yet?
Yeah, definitely. They've come up in a couple of hard matches, and that's what I'm saying, they've proved themselves time and time again that they were worthy of being here.
I think they proved themselves in one matchup. I don't think versus Complexity it was much of a battle. They've had a decent amount of luck, I want to say. It feels like everything that could go right for them has gone right for them, and everything just falls into place. I think when they play a better... Win. Oh, thanks, man. I think when they play a better team, though, and once they hit those speed bumps, that's when we can really tell if they can come together. Because so far, I feel like they haven't been tested.
And I think Fnatic is a team that can rise to the challenge or will rise to the occasion. I don't think they have a certain level that they can only sort of play to. But for Reunited, as we're talking about them, they really had to grind out that series against Rogue. That was very, very close. Speaking of both sides, speaking of Reunited, they said we could easily have lost that, and we almost did. So for them, they kicked themselves up the backside. They went back last night and said, well, this is not really acceptable that we were so close here to falling foul of Rogue, so we need to pick it up.
Now, you did say they have to come up with something very special, some kind of special tactics if they scrimped against each other, if they're so comfortable with each other and know each other's playstyle. What do you think we can see? What kind of pocket strike could they possibly have up in their sleeves which will surprise the opponent for real?
Nothing to do with weird heroes. I don't think we've talked about that, like what's the possibility of seeing a different pick. I don't think so. I think what it's going to be is strategies on very popular, very well-known maps that these guys aren't ready for. The way they push, where they push from, and how they execute the fights is probably going to be where the variation comes in here, I think.
You guys agreeing with that?
I agree. They know each other. Bringing out a surprise is probably bringing out something that they haven't practiced, being that they practice with each other. So if you take out something weird, you can't really expect that. You just have to play much better than they are.
I think in general, as we've said, and we actually covered that Gibraltar match where they ended up on opposite sides, you know, defending and attacking. They come together and they have a great shot caller. Vonathil, I think, is going to lead the team. And I agree with Mitch that I think it's going to come down to positioning. And I think Fnatic are just going to be that much better. And of course, this man is the guy you got to look out for. I feel like Buds, if he can get on Reaper, especially if they get on King of the Hill, he's going to be able to carry that team with Cool Matt. I feel like those are the two rock stars right now for Fnatic that have been showing up today.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Stoop here as well, which we've only complimented throughout this tournament. I haven't seen him do something dumb on Reinhardt that hasn't worked out for him. Reinhardt's always do something dumb, but bad Reinhardt's, it just doesn't go their way.
Every time he charges, he actually connects, and Reinhardt's the hero of mistakes. You only look dumb when you're diving and not connecting. So if he can be as aggressive as he's been, plus get those kills and keep the shield up, I mean, they're going to have a great game.
Yeah, like you said, Reinhardt, it's a very small, it's a whisker between being terrible and being great. IDDQT, he got kicked from Rogue because he just didn't fit in personality-wise. He spent all of his time at the takeover just hanging out and chatting and then getting on and fragging really well. Rogue didn't like this. They wanted to be serious, stony-faced. But IDDQT could have both. This guy, very good communication. He's a people person, and it shows the way he works, especially with Vonathil. Those two, really nice core. And IDDQT, sometimes he even surprises himself what he can pull off. The amount of clips we've got of him laughing his head off or just gasping at what he's able to achieve is quite crazy. So this guy doesn't even know his own potential.
All right, so if we're looking at their opponents, Reunited, and those players in that team, who do you guys think is going to stand out? Who are the key players?
I think along with the team name, they're Reunited. They've been together for a long time. They played Battlefield together, and they're not new to Gamescom. They've done this before. Here we have Unfixed again.
An amazing player. I feel like this pickup here, Kib is really the key player to watch out for. I feel like everybody else is consistent and they do well, and the only real superstar they have is Kib. I just see them as a more well-rounded team altogether.
I mean, someone who you could say maybe would be close to that status, if not in the past, Valutaja. This guy's a robot. You wind him up, you put him down, you let him go. He will be consistently strong no matter what, but he's not the kind of fluctuation player. He's not a black and white kind of player. He's consistent and solid. It's Winghaven coming in here as well. He versus Stoop will be a very interesting game of chess, but I am more interested in this guy. I mean, Cruz come into this team very much untested. Apparently he fit in right in with this whole atmosphere of the team. The only Brit before Kib came in, and they said, he's the best pickup we ever made. We haven't made a better decision than bringing him in. So I'm looking at I'm looking at Cruz to really stand tall.
And Mort has really been a pillar for this team. Of course, throughout all of the interview, he's been up there every single time, representing his team, really wanted them to win here, and it looks like a really great lineup for both of the teams.
Yeah, and they're going to be playing on Temple of Anubis. Does this map favor one of those teams, do you guys think?
I don't think they played it too much. That's the thing. I just don't think they have too much practice at this. Maybe at the boot camp. Like, I mean, if you're boot camping for this and you know it's going to be coming up, you would think you would play it at least a little bit. But even then, it's like, can you actually do anything different when you've just been practicing this strange map already nonstop with another team?
I think for Temple of Anubis, I would give it to Fnatic because they've been pushing with Lucio as a group, and I think that's super important on Anubis, that you get through that choke, the initial choke, don't waste any time, pick where you want to go, and that's what Fnatic has shown me every map today.
If there's any map that we're going to see Fnatic the strongest on, I think it's going to be ones like this. Reunited are old-fashioned. They come from a bygone era of esports, and they stick very much to what they know, and they're slow to adapt. If Fnatic can come out with something unexpected here, Reunited will be stubborn and will be a little bit slow to adjust.
All right, so if Fnatic is going to take the first one, which map do you guys think we're going to see second when Reunited is picking?
I think a King of the Hill. I think Fnatic always are going to be favored on the CP or the payload maps. That's what they're really good at. I feel like their coaching staff play a big role in that. But when it always comes down to mechanics, I always favor these EU teams, and especially in Fnatic's case.
I agree.
Okay, thank you for your insight.
Definitely Ilios. Ilios is a map for Reunited, is a very strong point for them. Now, when Rogue picked Hanamura against them, they were ready. Unfixed was on there on that May as well. So if they want to throw something in the mix there, like a 2CP map like that one, they can. I think Ilios is going to be one of Reunited's strengths here. Whether it's going to have to be a secret weapon or maybe it's just going to give them the extra round to win, I expect to see that one here.
All right, so I can't wait to get this game on its way, but the players are still like setting up and getting ready, so we still have a little bit more time to actually talk about the two teams we saw. Do you guys feel that either of those teams has stepped out of their comfort zone yet, for real, in terms of like maps or styles or
Actually,
picks?
in terms of King of the Hill maps, earlier everyone predicted that Fnatic would not be able to complete Nepal, that was somewhere they weren't strong, they weren't going to be able to beat Misfits, and they actually all came together, looked really strong on the map. So saying that they're going to pick Ilios and that's going to go their way, I think Fnatic has had the trend today of exceeding people's expectations in places where they've normally not played as well.
Fnatic have very high expectations to some degree on them as a team. Everyone's like, yeah, they've been together for not so long, but everyone knows who these people are. They've all been on big teams in the past here. But I think with Fnatic, there's been more opportunity to observe growth because Reunited's first match was honestly a stop and the second one was close. But we actually can see Fnatic in situations where they played similar maps one time, and then the second time they went back to them, your Dorados and your Nepals, where they have shown marked improvements. So purely based on what we've seen here so far, yes, I'd say Fnatic are enjoying this and they managed to grow. But I think Reunited just thrive under this environment. You can't rattle them Atlanta. It doesn't happen.
Yeah, the bigger story here from my perspective is we had Group A, right? And we had EnVyUs coming out of there, and then we have Fnatic coming out of there. They're both US-based, and then on top of that, I mean, it seems like already EU team wins the first matchup, and they're from Group B, and now we have the second team coming from Group B, once again EU. So this is a story of who had the easy group, who had the hard group. I think we all agreed that Group B was the harder group. And then who's better, EU versus NA? You know, the story over time has always been EU is better than NA. You know, and that goes back to many, many esports. I personally, of course, I mean, I hope Stir too. Maybe Australia is cheering for the homeboys.
It really depends. We actually sort of say stuff everyone else and just support. Even if you guys are playing, we're like, yeah, well, they both suck, so it doesn't matter. But
I'm cheering for Fnatic.
Generally, neither. I mean, I think I came into this saying that like the top three would have two NA teams in there. One of them being Cloud9. So even though I'm wrong on that one as well. I did think it would be a Reunited EnVyUs final, but we haven't even got there. So I actually put NA ahead of EU here, and I got told off this morning by AKM actually. He's like, you're full of it. You have no idea. You haven't seen us play on LAN. It's completely different to what you think it is online. And he was right. I have to cop that sweet. EU have performed better at this LAN, but I thought NA would.
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of people watching also, they don't take that into account. Playing on the LAN is way different than playing an online tournament. It's just a whole setup. I mean, being in front of an amazing crowd, it's loud here. There is a lot of energy flowing through the room. And you notice that as a player. Like, that can't go unnoticed or when the heat is up here in this hall. And yeah, so it's quite a difference. Now, if we're looking at the teams and their performances during the qualifiers, do you guys feel that either of those teams really stepped up their game here on LAN?
Between the two, it's hard to say. I think neither. I think they've both sort of competed at that level. I think Fnatic lost to Cloud9 in the qualifiers, right? They've actually made it a lot further than Cloud9. I guess there's an improvement there, but I mean, even Complexity can deal with Cloud9 if they know what they're going to play like. So I think if you want to compare the two, Reunited were always a bit of a shoe-in. Fnatic were like, yeah, third or fourth. So they have, I'd say now that obviously the top 2 European teams are the top 1 NA team now left, Fnatic are. So they've exceeded expectations from the qualifiers, but again, this series will tell a lot more. It's a best of 5, more games. It's going to give us a heck of a lot more information on both of these teams.
All right.
I don't know. I feel like Fnatic on one side is a great team and they've really come together, but at the same time to call them like the top NA team, that's almost like a consolation prize. It's they're the best NA team now because the other 2 got knocked out.
I don't think it really matters their previous record. It's just who's coming here and actually performing well. We even just saw in the Envious match that Envy wasn't really playing up to standard, so they fell a little bit behind. The story of Complexity here has been that Complexity, their first time playing, were quite nervous, weren't really used to playing in this setup, but they came back, they really learned from that, and it's who's going to be playing well, the players to look out for on both of these teams. I think IDQD has been playing extremely well today. You know, players to look out for doing well is who's going to carry each team.
Let's talk a bit about the map we're going to see first. Temple of Anubis, something we haven't been seeing a lot, at least not picked. The first map in the semifinals, however, is pre-picked, and that's going to be it. What are your thoughts on the map in general?
Well, in the previous matchup, we saw a lot of, like, even on defense, we saw Genji Tracer, which is a big mix-up, and we saw stall tactics. On this second point specifically, the spawn points for the defending team are so close that if you die staggered, it's actually better than just getting full wiped and resetting, because if you can get a Mei, if you can get a Diva, if you can get those longevity heroes out there, you're going to be able to hold the point for an extra 2 minutes even.
Well, we've seen varied strategies as well. I believe Tavik earlier on Junkrat, which is something I love to see on this map. It's always a character that people always say, I don't see it enough in competitive, but then there's these spots like Temple of Anubis where you can bring out a Junkrat, well-placed traps and just spamming the corridors is very powerful.
There's a lot of way to get around those corridors, of course, on this particular map. High ground is a big one here for defending teams as well. If they can get a high perch, kind of like towards the front door, there's a few ledges you can stand on, and you can actually watch the attacking team as they come through. That's an incredibly big advantage now when you can choose when the fight starts, and you can actually isolate those damage dealers or the squishy targets early because you already know where they are in the pack.
Could I actually beg someone to play Torbjorn? I feel like we've seen so much character variety. We saw Bastion.
I was so happy with that, by the way. I was so happy. I was already really excited that we did get to see Mei in the end yesterday on Hanamura for the first time. That got me really excited. And then Bastion today. And it did work out to an extent.
Yes.
Yeah, the
as long
Bastion
as
push
you use it,
was quite good. They went with a typical Nepal strategy where that's commonly used. They got 40% off it. Unfortunately, they lost that match. But I don't know. Thinking back, I think Torbjorn, anyone else not seen?
Like, Harblue will play that one on Hanamura. He didn't today, though, which is a shame. Unfixed is the one other player that might play it on Numbani if it goes to that, which, by the way, is definitely a map that Reunited would fancy their chances on. They're one of the few teams that still is strong on it, and Route 66, now I remember it here, is also a sick map for Reunited. So this pool benefits them a lot. Torbjorn, maybe we'll see it, but I think Unfixed might not be allowed to go so far off his leash, so to speak, in these games.
So if we're looking at the hero picks in general, divided by region, right? I mean, there are slight tendencies in NA which we don't see in EU and vice versa. Anything specific you want to point out there?
Diva for North America is definitely the far more common thing. They really value high ground or just taking the fight to the enemy. Obviously, defense matrix is nice, but it's more about the mobility there. A bit more Zarya you're seeing thrown in EU. I don't know if that's because of the Quake players being more prominent on that Zarya role. We see more of them, but regardless, yeah, less Diva over in EU. It's taken them a while to adjust, and I'm kind of on the fence over which region has it more correct in that regard.
Yeah. There's definitely been a lot of debate whether or not Diva fits in. At first, when the patch changed and she became so powerful, everybody thought guaranteed you need a Diva on your team at all times, but people have really been dropping her. And again, I'm kind of the same way. I don't know if that's good or bad yet, because the matches where we've seen Diva, she's been very effective. We've seen her on Dorado pushing. That defense matrix gets your team so much space. But there are a lot of good tank options right now. Everyone wants Reinhardt. We've even seen Roadhog. Diva is kind of maybe a second pick after a Reinhardt.
Yeah, and I think it comes down to just specifically who it suits. I mean, we see Coolmat, obviously, an amazing Zarya. We see Stoop, an amazing Reinhardt. And then at the same time, when we see NA using Diva more, the reason Zarya is so strong right now is because it's a perfect counter to Diva. There isn't anything to ingest from Diva that defense matrix can't really take a laser from Zarya. So it's a perfect counter, and I don't know. I think Zarya is going to be the main pick here, especially because, Cool Matt's team, Fnatic, they are an A base, but he's such a strong Zarya that you can't switch.
So if you're looking at the picks in general we saw so far in the tournament, do you feel like any of the picks has been a reason or a cause for a loss, or was it rather the individual performance or the performance of the team? Or do you really feel like you can pinpoint something on a pick?
Yeah, I think specifically Fnatic, they just played Misfits. The King of the Hill, they thought, you know, we're a stronger King of the Hill team, but they didn't account for the fact that, you know, Soon could not play that McCree, and because he couldn't play that McCree, they kind of fell apart because Buds is such a strong Reaper, and that's definitely something we could possibly see here. I mean, we're talking about...
Was it Soon's Reaper that he couldn't
Soon
play?
was playing Reaper against Bud's Reaper, and Bud's Reaper was just... I mean, Soon is still a great Reaper, so nothing to fault him, but his McCree was the main thing that was carrying him on payloads, and then as soon as that got taken out, I mean, Buds was just the better Reaper.
I just want to say Ana was never the fault.
That is
never Ana's
so
fault.
wrong. That is so wrong. It's not funny. Like, Rogue tried it against Envy, and they lost 4 minutes trying to make it work, right? And they did it wrong. We covered that.
That was the player's fault.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Them choosing the pick and crafting a strategy around the pick was a cause of them losing that map, I think.
All right, let's actually take a look at how Reunited got here, as all those teams really fought hard to be here on this stage.
In Overwatch, you need a good team, a lot of communication. I think communication is one of the most important things in this game. Individual skill, and that changes per role. Like a support needs to have more brain, and a DPS class just needs to have more aim. I think the harmony is great. I think we've always had like a great atmosphere within the team since we've been playing together for like 6 years already. Overwatch is basically the best and biggest game we've played since we started gaming, so everyone is like mega focused and excited. We're ready.
To be successful, you need to be very dedicated to the game. You should never listen to anybody else. Like, you should always just keep working, keep improving, go through your mistakes, and just try to work them through. I think the excitement comes from the game being so fast-paced. So it's like always something you can do. There's like not a single second you can sit quiet. There's always something you have to call out. There's always something you need to like think about. Like always something you need to like to strategize before next team fight. Every time we face an issue within the team, we always try to work them through together. Always be honest with each other. We never talk behind each other's backs, and that's what I think makes us stronger.
Yeah, right afterwards we had the video for Fnatic. Those are the two teams we're gonna see playing here in the second semi-final. And what are you taking away from videos like that?
Bonifil's saying, don't listen to anyone else. I mean, it makes sense that he's the shot caller for that team, and of course you're all listening to me now. But I mean, sometimes you have to listen to someone else, right? Parents, authorities.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
They're pro
But
gamers.
they're not here yet, so he can do whatever he wants.
Right. He goes to bed when he wants. There is no bedtime involved.
Yeah, exactly. We all ended up here because we didn't listen to our parents and we didn't do our homework and we played
It's actually
video
not
games.
true. I've always been supported in my choice in gaming, so sorry for you.
No, not for me.
Oh.
Either way, yeah, so those are the two teams. Do you feel like each of them looks more confident and like ready to you guys?
I think Fnatic are the more pumped up team. They seem more excitable. Reunited, even when they won, it was just kind of
like...
yeah,
yesterday, that was that.
They're not really excited. But on the other hand, Fnatic, I feel like they've just worked for it a little bit more. You know, of course, Fnatic coming in here as the #2 seed, Reunited coming from the winner bracket. I think they've had the easier road, and it shows in how they react, how they talk to each other. You know, you saw that video, Bonifil making shot calls, and he was just very, very passionate.
Yeah, very appreciative of the cameraman there, catching the fact that we actually are getting players into their lobbies. We're trying to get this game started as soon as we can, whispering in his ear, sweet nothings. I doubt he could even hear that, but...
No. You just, if you're a pro player and you have those headphones on, you can't hear anything, and someone touches you and you're like, yeah.
I actually heard a lot of people asking questions about that. I know it's a weird thing to go off on, but they have earbuds inside their headphones.
You get every event.
Larger headphones have white noise, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Well, now that we've
covered that one.
Covered that mystery for you guys. We are actually heading into this game, Temple of Anubis, our second semifinals. Fnatic going up against the guys from Reunited. I'm excited. The crowd is high. And I hope you guys at home are too, because we're going to get this game on its merry way. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Zoe. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is Reunited versus Fnatic. Scrim partners for the last week. They know just about everything about each other. I'm sure they maybe have a few little secrets under their sleeves, but I managed to speak to Mort just before this one, Ben, and immediately he said, I really don't know. It's 50-50 in scrims. This could go either way.
You know, I feel the exact same way about this game. Really impossible to call, and we're just going to have to wait and see how it does play out. But I do wonder, they've scrimmed a lot, but have they scrimmed a lot on Anubis? Anything can happen on this map, as we've already seen, D-Man.
I mean, you've got to assume they must have practiced in this one. They knew it was in the pool. They knew it was the map coming into the semifinals. Both would have been thinking, they're going to be in the semifinals. Obviously, Reunited coming into this as maybe the favorites for Group B. Either way, I think Cloud9 would have had an argument in there, but that argument is null and void these days. Fnatic, though, who'd have thought? The last team from North America being represented here. Yes. Up against Reunited, who were formerly known as Fnatic at the very inception of Overwatch, and obviously many times world champions in various games.
Yeah, so many great storylines here, D-Man. Of course, Fnatic, they were the third-ranked NA team, so a lot of folks weren't expecting them to even make it out of groups, yet here they are, sitting in wait. Here, as we do jump on into Anubis, the games will begin momentarily.
So, Junkrat is what I'm seeing immediately from Unfixed here. Something we haven't seen a great deal of. It's what I want to think of his name. Seagull. Why can I not think of Seagull's name? It's something that Seagull ran on Anubis in the qualifiers for Energy. And actually, when they had that big hold for Splice, you and me have both had some epic games here on Anubis. We saw, obviously, the epic one from Rogue and Envious earlier on. Very intrigued to see how this first point defensive hold is going to be on the initial inception, because you can make a lot of time up here.
Yep. Perhaps they were watching the Rogue games, because Tvik actually chose Junkrat. After getting rolled over by Envious, they switched to Junkrat. Next time they were on defense, and they did so much better. They were able to stop the relentless onslaught. Speaking of onslaught, let's get this game going, D-Man.
Here we go. We're going to see Butts on the Roadhog once again on attack. It worked out well for him here in the playoffs in the group stage decider. Of course. Oh, the hook instantly lands! Butts managed to get cruised out. Kim goes straight in there, takes down Stu. That's the tank for tank. Picked off there. So support's not going to work out too well. Butts going to creep around the side, and immediately you see Reunited separating, scattering, realizing, holy hell, there's hooks from Butts.
Yeah, setting the tone very early, though. The Reunited squad has been able to strike back with a number of kills in a row, so Fnatic with the initial pick, but now they are down and out and have to try once more.
The biggest problem, of course, is the long run back. The fact that he caught down the tank early on. Winghaven back in there, and you can see Unfixed trying to set himself up a couple of traps. The cheeky setup there, get the right click down, try and blow somebody away early on. The spam comes in, the walls of the shield getting helped out, and then Unfixed again. Bud's getting the hook. This time doesn't get the kill.
Buds, though, hitting a really good hook accuracy so far. There's a flanking Reaper coming up from above, and that's a really interesting position there by Kib. And let's see if we can have anything happen here with the ultimate. Here comes the Junkrat ult. It will be taken out, though. Cool Matt and his team moving straight forward.
Spotted around the side. Valataja holding a very different angle here, expecting the side. Are they going to be looking to see where that Deadeye is going to come from? Cool Matt trying to get the beam down there. You can see the jump from Winghaven, trying to disrupt them, trying to get in there, maybe separate that shield. Not going to pull the trigger just yet. Buds with the whole hog, ready and waiting to go.
Yeah, Buds could jump in at any second, and Fnatic is just biding their time, waiting. Here comes a Reaper, though. Reaper versus Roadhog, not a fight you want to have too often as the Roadhog. So now Fnatic is down one in this engagement. Reunited has been struck back, though. It is a 5v5 on the point, and we could see a huge Death Blossom coming out of Kip. He's on the point.
Very separated fight at the moment. You can see the splits across. Bud's obviously being picked up on the side there. Still not really getting too much. They managed to get themselves the first marker on point. Stoop getting those left click headshots. Valotaja, Deadeye almost ready and waiting to go, but just going to run straight in, and Stoop just catches him straight out with a fire strike. That should be the first point capped out by Fnatic.
Well, Valotaja was left alone there, but I do wish he kind of stayed a little further back. He could have dealt a little bit more damage, perhaps, and saved that for his team, but nonetheless, Fnatic will move on, and that's an okay time. It's not a great time, D-Man, but with 3 minutes off the clock, they've got to be feeling okay moving on to the next point, considering that they also have a couple ultimates to their name.
Left side push coming through. It looks like with that pick on Kip, they might just go straight forward. Graviton Surge readily available. Cooknut puts it down, but the shield is going to hold. There goes the whole hog trying to push them down. Unfixed just gets one. That's all it's going to be. Buds gets himself another pick on though, but it's not enough at the moment. You can see they're going to come in. It's a scattered spawn, so they're not going to get the quick switch on the point, which is what they want for that big time bank score.
Does look like Unfixed is actually sticking with Junkrat as we move on to this next point. Tavik did that earlier today as well, and he's able to get a couple of kills and open that up for his team. And now as they set up on defense here, interestingly enough, they're only running with one tank here on the final point of Anubis. Kind of interesting. I mean, you could like to see a Zarya in the point like this, but nonetheless, only one tank.
Yeah, no big shields. It's the big difference, but Mort's been getting that damage down. We'll see how it works out. You can see they're going to try the left flank position. Stoop comes around. He's got his Earth Shatter ready and waiting to go. So left side it is. You can see Kip in position. He's got his Death Blossom ready and waiting to go. Doesn't really catch a great deal with him. Manages to pop around the side. Buds gets him down in the end, though. Valotaja strikes back. Now Stoop going down. No shield to defend them. Fnatic have to use the walls to try and buck out the side there. Get a quick kill. Ulti comes in from Winghaven. Tries to catch around there, but Valotaja chimes in, and they hold strong. 5 minutes and counting. All that's left on the board for Fnatic. And this is the real problem with this map. You either flip it very fast, or suddenly they get set up and start stacking their ultis, and it becomes a real tough ask. Look at this switch off. Buds changing over to Widowmaker.
Yeah, switching off to Widowmaker, and you got to imagine they're going to be looking for an early pick here to just be the cue for them to push on in. However, they already have done that. They have done that with Roadhog, and they have done that with Zarya. They've had that early pick. They just haven't been able to capitalize. Let's see if Buds will go for the trick shot. He is indeed, as the team moves forward, and he's holding a little bit further behind, but here comes the Junkrat tire. Will it be able to get any value? No, it's actually, you don't see that very often, defense sucked on into the Graviton Surge.
His shield had just run out, so he realized that was about to take him down, but the Graviton Surge used to keep it out. It does mean, of course, he didn't have a great deal available. Using the Graviton Surge to save yourself, I'm not so sure on that. There's the quick right click to the face of Buds. And Reunited hold. So now we're down to 4 minutes. Okay, yeah. This is already a very good time for Reunited.
Yeah, they've held for long enough that they can feel pretty confident when they switch on to attack. And Buds, actually, it looks like he will be staying with Widowmaker. He's up to 50% of his ultimate, so he will very soon have the infrasight to see through everything, give his team ultimate vision. Cool Matt, though, now switched on to Winston. I wonder what he's looking to do here. He will be engaging the team. Both teams will be clashing, D-Man.
Yeah, get straight in there. You can see Cool Matt trying to get the work down with the Tesla cannon. Cruzwallow and Valotaja will pick up the kills. IDDQD just getting the one. Gets his counterpart Valotaja down, but that is going to be it. He's the last man standing for his team. He's going to get batted away. Kip comes in on the Genji now, working so well. 3 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. Fnatic starting to run out of ideas how to take this, and Reunited, they're stacking the ultis.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Fnatic has been able to... Oh, wow! Unfixed with the miracle shot there, and that is putting Fnatic back another 30, 40 seconds because you cannot push in without Lucio in this kind of scenario.
Perfect. They deliberately delayed the kill on Vonathil there. Obviously, the shot caller. So they're not going to want to go anywhere. Bud's back on the hog. So really, they're trying things. They're switching. It's working. They're adapting, but it's just Reunited holding solid as they try and push on the point.
All right. Looks like Fnatic making their way through the middle, but they're kind of disjointed at this point as the Hog is moving around the side. Maybe he's going for a flank. We have seen this work in the past, but Valotaja might be able to get a kill. IDDQD will strike first, though. Winghaven will strike back.
Valotaja with the left clicking around the side there. He's going to get a Winston right in his face. They flash bang each other. They're caught out. Finally, Fnatic looks like they might have taken the point here. They got one man around the side there. You can see he's trying to track down Mort. Mort trying to keep it contested as long as he can. The first marker gets in. You can see IDDQD forced away. Cruz comes back out. And well, Reunited clear the site once more, just about. Fnatic very close to taking it there, but they've got themselves their first foot in the door.
Yeah, they have gotten one tick on the point. Not enough, though. They need to try again, and we haven't actually seen them get to a point where they have 3 or 4 or 5 ultimates at once. It seems like at most they're dropping 2 ultimates in each fight. Maybe we'd like to see them just wait and poke and look for that advantage in terms of ultimates. They do currently, they could put themselves in that situation as Reunited is pretty low. Cool Matt, though, just switching to Zarya, going to be looking for a huge Graviton Surge, and that's probably what they're going to base this play around. Bud's now on the Tracer, so Graviton Surge and Pulse Bomb, they're a great combo.
They're running out of time. They're down to inside the 2-minute marker, of course. We've already seen him on the Winston. That didn't work. Winghaven managed to get taken down by IDDQD. How did that happen? The tank picked up around the side with a Deadeye. Should never happen. Manages to find Cruz as well with a quick fan and a hammer. And now he's going to get to work with the left click. Forces him down. Valataja goes down. IDDQD finally going off for Fnatic, and that's exactly what they needed. Yes. It will be 2 minutes on the clock for Fnatic.
Yeah, but not much time left for them to try again when they switch on over to attack. It will be just 2 minutes. And Reunited surely looking to set a quicker time, get through the map a little bit faster. Will we see any kind of shenanigans? Will it be standard play? Hard to call here on this map because we just haven't seen it very much in tournament setting, especially never on a stage like this, D-Man.
No, absolutely. So solid hold. Obviously, if you were to look back at the previous game, yeah, both teams, Envious and Rogue, managed to close it out in what, just outside of 4 minutes for Rogue, and Envious 7 minutes 20. They had plenty of time to spare, but they get held. So regardless of time, 2 minutes, you can actually still take both points in 2 minutes. It is totally possible. So now the pressure onto Reunited. Can they get themselves a good time and give themselves a real foot and a chance to get themselves 1-0 up?
Absolutely, and we do have Kib switched over to his trademark character. This is the character that we know and love him for. He's now going to be playing Genji. And if you guys were watching yesterday, you did see that Kib would go off by himself at times and get 2 kills, you know, just solo. So will this Genji come into play? Absolutely. The sword will be huge on this point.
Yeah, I mean, he just ran it for, I think, about half the map in the defensive side. Worked out very well. Not really sure Fnatic have a great answer to him. Obviously, Buds can switch over to the Genji if he wants to, but it's more ideal being on the Reaper. Probably expecting, obviously, Winghaven coming in on the Winston. Expect that fast attack style, maybe even paired with Kib as they try and pile in there. Interesting to see how it's going to work out. Always interested to see where the defensive team's going to hold. Fnatic going to hold the bridge.
Yeah, it does seem like they're going to hold right on top of the bridge, and this has actually fallen out of favor a little bit. Almost every team used to hold right up on that bridge.
Then you have that left flank.
Not so much anymore.
Yeah.
Largely because of the left flank. You can also take what's called the secret window if you've got a Genji or a Diva or something like that and completely bypass them, but here they are holding pretty far forward. Of course, they could fall back.
Okay, here we go. Kib's going to get a peek, going to see the big Reinhardt shield and give all the information that they need. Okay, defensive position spread out. Right, will they try and dart out to the right? There goes Winghaven leaping in on the Winston. Kib tries to get around the back there. Doesn't really catch a great deal. Coolmat taken down pretty low at the moment, but no picks going either side. Custer's going to get himself the first one on Winghaven. Unfixed replies with Buds going down, so that's the Reaper. No more damage coming out from Fnatic. They only have IDDQD trying to land those left clicks. Well, Valataja comes in from range. He tries to get himself some chip down, but they are just slowly working it away. They're picked around the side. We saw exactly the same from Fnatic. Not piling in as one, just trying to pick their targets and surrounding them effectively. As you see, just on the top there, Mort laying down the damage from up on high.
Oh, wow. Look how spread apart Reunited are right now. They need to get an early pick, and they do. Stoop is out of the action. That means no more Reinhardt shield, so that's going to trigger the Transcendence to keep the team alive a little bit longer, so Coolmat will respond. And pretty even at this point as Fnatic striking back. Bud still on the point in the middle of the fray, trying his best to do what he can, and he has done a lot.
Valataja doing some brilliant work there. Cruz chiming in, picking up the kills more than anything. It's Valataja that's been doing the work. Unfix comes charging through with the Zarya. So first point going to get capped out here. Fnatic are not even going to try and contest this one, and that puts them a real big time as they move in. Now, of course, the question is, Fnatic had a similar position. They had a lot of time on the board. This final point, you either flip it very fast on the initial attack and look at the ultis. There is 4
they're about to have
6. 5, yeah, all 6 actually. Yeah, you can see Kib at 99. Valataja, they're going to pile in.
And here comes Reunited. They're going to drop all of their ultimates in this fight. Fnatic has none to their name. How can they fight against this IDDQD, though? It gets the first kill. So even though there's the ultimate advantage, Fnatic is holding very strong.
Transcendence doing a great job to keep them alive there. Valataja there and Cruz picking up kill after kill. Reunited all on the kill field. This is surely going to be a huge time bank. You can see it's already 655 plus. They're going to hit themselves the first marker. Buds gets taken down. Now it's going to start chucking in their favor. The spawns will come out. It's going to be periodic. You can see Coolmat peeking around the side. He's going to try and to get himself in there, but he's not a Tracer player. In goes Stoop. He's got Earth Shatter available, but the shield from Winghaven's going to stop that going down. Finally, the rest of the team going to spawn out, but it is all going the way of Reunited as they try and push on through. IDDQD, he's looking for a target. He can't find anything. Buds comes in there, just trying to delay things, gets desuited, dropped down. It is all going Reunited's way. IDDQD finally gets himself the kill in there on Winghaven. Volatile chimes in, and it looks like Fnatic have finally got a grip. But is that the second marker hit? I believe it is by Reunited.
That is, but a real nice play there by Fnatic to be able to hold on it all. Of course, the spawn point for the defenders is so much closer to the action that they're able to get in there, but it looked like they were just trying to delay. They weren't even looking for kills. They were somehow able to get it off the back of IDDQD getting an initial pick. But Fnatic got to be breathing a sigh of relief because they did not want them to set a time that quick.
And Reunited actually held on to quite a lot of ultis there. They were just like, okay, we're probably going to lose it. Kib didn't use his Dragon Blade. Unfix now sitting on that Graviton Surge. It is still all set up for Reunited to post themselves a big time. Here you go, Winghaven charging down the middle. Unfix looking for his moment, looking for that Graviton Surge, pops it into the doorway, catches them down. The shield's going to get burnt out. The self-destruct comes through. Coolmac gets a pulse bomb down there. Unfix catching out, but Kib's going off with the Dragon Blade. Gets around the side, gets one, gets two, gets three as he piles on through. Now chases on down. The poor old Tracer. Coolmac trying to get away, but the Shurikens, you can't outrun them when they're coming for your face, and Reunited will clear off this point. It's going to be a 5-minute time in the time bank unless Stoop can do anything about it.
Well, the spawns are actually now favoring Fnatic as they're able to get in on the action. They have ultimates as well, so Coolmat's pulse bomb actually saved them right there. If it was not for that pulse bomb, this game would be over, and excuse me, not the game, but the time would have been set.
But Reunited wisely just backed away from that one, so they didn't even sit around on the point. They're like, okay, they're gonna get all the respawns, let's get away from this one. You can see Buds finally getting himself some kills in there on the D.Va. It's working out well for him. Unfix gonna get away. The Zarya shield will keep him alive, and Fnatic hold. And more importantly, it stays on that second marker. Obviously, detracts all the way back down. And that's what Reunited have got to do. They've got to get that clean sweep ace to try and get that final point. And look at the time. It's starting to drop. We're at 4 minutes 20.
They had so much momentum. They had the wind behind their sails, yet Fnatic found a way to find some friction and scrappily come back into this one. So Fnatic now looking to try and hold this for just a little bit longer. If they can hold it for 2 more minutes, they're going to be on even footing. Of course, if they can hold it for 4 more minutes, they're going to be good.
A lot of ultis available for Fnatic in this fight as they try and push on through. Winghaven trying to delay his Earth Shatter as long as he can. But you can see the self-destruct for Buds. May even just launch that on them as soon as they try and push on the point. He's got to be careful he doesn't get desuited in the first place. And that is what's happened. So he didn't even get a chance. Self-destruct goes off. Oh, and he gets himself a triple.
Oh no, Volataja one blink too many. He was behind cover and he ended up killing himself. Unfortunate for him, but fortunate for Fnatic and Fnatic fans in the audience. It's great to hear everybody excited as we are in the semifinals of the $100,000 tournament.
Coolmac finally clearing them out there. Cruz and Mort the last two. So the support's actually delayed being killed there. So Reunited gonna have to wait for them to spawn, and it keeps working the clock down. Remember, if they go below 2 minutes, it puts them back on that 2-minute marker, unless you're in overtime and you get a big fat 0. The question is, can they even close it out with 3 minutes to go? They've got decent ultis coming in, but Fnatic are still in a very good position here.
Yeah, man, it's starting to feel like the defending team just has such a big advantage on this point, and Buds has actually switched on over to Junkrat. We have not seen him play Junkrat, but we have seen him play about 7 other characters so far, so no big surprise there.
Switching around the side, Kib also onto the Tracer as well. The Reaper, sorry, was playing the Genji early on, so he's going to get around the side. Needs to get himself a heal up. Here comes the Riptire. Is he going to catch him around? It doesn't look like he's going to find them. There's going to be Unfixed pulled in. Graviton Surge works in his favor, keeps him defensive, keeps him happy. Coolmac back on the D.Va, doing what he can. Gets desuited. Looks like Reunited may well have just done it. He gets taken down, and the final marker comes in. Volatile does what he can. Buds joins back on the point. Custom back around the side, but they all get picked off. And finally, Reunited do it. It's not a great time. It's 2:29. Not a great deal better than Fnatic did.
That's a 30-second advantage, D-Man, so really not much going for Reunited. It's basically back to square one. It's as if we're playing on Anubis with only 2 minutes.
So, can they even take that first point? That's the question. We've seen some solid holds. It both took them, not the initial attack. There were they were very interesting first attacks. It wasn't a case of piling in 6-man onto the point and force them to fight you on the point, which we do see quite often. Actually, teams quite often let the first marker go on the first point before they even get react, because they're trying to, we're just going to hold it. We're going to hold defensive. Wait, we need to fight them down. Both teams actually just separated, almost surrounded their opponent and tried to get the picks. So we'll see where they switch it up here.
Yeah, and it looks like pretty standard stuff as well. We could potentially see something like an Ana. You know, an Ana-boosted Genji can usually take this first point. I would actually love to see more teams trying Ana out, especially on these assault maps. But both teams going with pretty much what we saw last time. And once again, if you take a look at the Reunited squad on defense, they're not even playing with the Reinhardt. They're going to be playing with only one tank, and that's going to be a solo Winston. So again, it sort of feels like this is a little bit along the lines of what Envious played on defense here. They're going to try and collapse on the enemies as they come in instead of hold them out of the gates.
Here we go, Buds on the Genji once again. Let's see if he can get something working. IDDQD also switching over, and he gets instantly popped by Unfix. That's going to slow the attack down, and that buys him some vital time. When you only got 2 minutes on the clock, the last thing you need is Tracer to get popped off by a Junkrat the very second he spawns.
And this is just really interesting positioning. It's clear that Reunited have practiced this. They've talked about this because their team is spread across the defensive part. But here comes Fnatic. They're engaging onto the point. It's going to be up to Reunited to collapse on them.
Buzz gets picked off. Winghaven manages to leap back in there. They're all caught in the bridge there. They're going to get around the side. Winghaven just jumps around. The second he notices he's targeted, they get themselves in the room. But Kip with the Reaper up close and personal gets himself a little sniff on IDDQD there as he tries to get around the side. He's going to teleport back up around them. So you can see Fnatic, they're going to try and take the little room, the little ledge on the top right. But Reunited, they know exactly where they are, and they're closing the net.
And the first ultimates are starting to be charged up here. It looks like only 1 minute left, so the first time you're going to have 1 or 2 or 3 ultimates, you're going to have to push right in.
Oh, Riptire straight to the face of Vonnegut on callback from Unfix. That is going to buy them all the time in the world they need. Mork chimes in with a double as well. Stoop goes down. That is a clean sweep there. Fnatic, 40 seconds left on the clock. It is do or die time for them to try and take this first point. They have 1 attack left.
And this is not looking good because Coolmat, of course, his Graviton Surge needs to be big. IDDQD does have the Pulse Bomb, but Coolmat is still 40% away from getting this. Valutaja will probably be able to zone folks out with the Deadeye. Here comes the defensive ultimate to keep everyone alive, and Bonnefil does get a kill though, somehow within that.
IDDQD chimes in, he gets himself more down there on the point. They're starting to take it in here. Kip gets himself back around, Vonnegut gets taken down. IDDQD doing some work. They may actually cap the first point out. It's going to go into overtime. They've done it. They've cleared Reunited off. Valutaja was picked up earlier, and they are going to get the first point. That is all they needed. That is all they needed. They're going to have no more time left to keep on pushing through, but that lays down the marker for Reunited. They have to cap point A.
How many times have we seen overtime be the decider here this weekend? It's just been absolutely wild to watch, but Fnatic only gets 1 point. Still a chance for Reunited to try and get both. They're going to have a perfect push, though. It's probably going to have to happen in the first or second or third push at very latest if they want a chance to get both the first and second point here. Still possible, though, for Reunited. Otherwise, we're going to be headed to a tiebreaker on, I believe it's Nepal, actually.
Yes.
Best of 3 on Nepal.
Which I'm excited for, and the more the maps, the merrier, Ben. I think we're quite happy to see this. Bud's looking like he might be starting out on the Roadhog once again. Of course, this time around, it would be the defense, so no, chooses to go with the Genji. And of course, Reunited, what are they going to do? Their turn to attack. Will they change anything up? It was less than a stellar performance, their initial attack. Of course, we're not seeing a Junkrat coming out from Fnatic, so Coolmat preferring to stick to the Xayah. So very much tried and tested from both teams this time around.
Yeah, neither team was actually able to capture the first point in less than 2.5 minutes. So Reunited and Fnatic put in a pretty tough situation, but Reunited now, who knows? Fnatic might be able to put up the stalwart defense that stops them from even getting this first point. That said, in general, if we look at maps played throughout tournaments in general, that first point should be captured here.
Well, Coolmat by far the man of the series in the decider match this morning for me. Absolutely brilliant stuff. Let's see if his shielding can work out, of course. It's Valitaja that goes looking. Who's going to be the first blood? Who's going to be the first man to be picked off? Nobody wants to be that man. They're going to be charging around. They've actually managed to get a good chunk on Buds there. Took him down below half health, gets himself around. You can see Valitaja trying to find his target, trying to land those headshots, flicking back around, looking towards where Bud's positioning is going to be as well. Kip's going to try and get around the side. They're pushing in. They're going to get around the side. Kip's getting free damage at the moment from the back. You can't ignore those shurikens. Valitaja's going to find Custer. He goes a little too deep there. The Reaper has to back away. Stu gets picked up. This is all going in Reunited's favor. It looks like it's going to be a clean sweep.
Uh-oh, this is looking bad though for Fnatic because Kib has gotten kill after kill after kill, and he will have the Dragon Blade to go on to this next point. In fact, he's moving all the way ahead of his team, trying to see if he can do any little tickle damage, see if he can just build up the ultimate that he needs. Only a minute and 30 on the clock left, but that's plenty of time to make this happen. Actually, we're going to have a switch up, so Winghaven actually going to be going on over to Reinhardt here, but here is Kib with the Dragon Blade at bay.
Pulse Bomb, Dragon Blade, everything they really need here. You can see Transcendence coming in. This is very much in favor of Reunited as they stack in there. Here comes the quick walk. Winghaven comes around, starts to start batting away, looks for Custer, tries to get the damage down on him. Buzz gets himself the kill on Cruz, but Winghaven and Kip chime in. There's a fix, there's good Kip, and they are just suddenly clearing the point. It's going to take them a lot more than that. They're going to get themselves a respawn because it was a quick, slow dribble, and there's going to be Kumat. Kumat switching over to the D.Va. He's going to be getting back onto the point. They've got to hold this for 50 seconds. It's going to be a lot of work for Fnatic.
They need a miracle, but they had one before. Kib is going to be able to swipe into this. Easy peasy, getting kill after kill. Every kill resets his dash. He's going to keep it going, and Kib alone has done this for his team, I believe.
Fantastic stuff. That's the Graviton surge from Unfix that worked it. It is going to be Reunited that take map #1 over Fnatic on the Temple of Anubis.
Yes, brilliant
well,
stuff.
I mean, they did it in what, 2 minutes? 2 minutes straight. We talked about that extra 20 seconds. They didn't even need it.
You know, the first time it took them 6.5 minutes. The second time, 2.5, no problem whatsoever. And very much on the back of Kib. And if you did look at that team composition for Reunited, it was very much double flanker. So you had a Tracer and a Genji, very much dependent on working with the Winston, jumping in, working with the Zarya in tandem to get those quick kills. And that worked out quite well for Kib, who got the Dragon Blade and finished it off with that Dragon Blade.
Fantastic stuff. Fnatic, they're going to have to sit down, talk. You can see them grouping up, get their discussions on. And while they talk about it, let's see what the analyst desk had to say about that game.
Yeah, guys, what are we having to say about that game? That was a really close one, and I very much hope that the series is just going to continue in this fashion.
That was really close all the way through, but I said it from the beginning, oh, I was right. Huck always wants to say, oh, I was right. Reunited, able to pull it out at the end. And I think it was actually a little bit interesting that I think Fnatic, how well they pushed together and how well they grouped, was actually a disadvantage for them, because every time they pushed, it's easy for Reunited to come back and defend it and say they're all coming from this cave again, and we could just step back and defend it.
The big question is, for me, is like that map was so unique. How are they going to play? Because we see, like, we keep seeing Junkrat on that map, right? And Junkrat's a super strong pick on that map, but we almost never see it in any other maps. And now we're actually going to go into Gibraltar, and that's of course Fnatic's pick. How do you feel about that, Mitch?
For Fnatic choosing Gibraltar, I don't necessarily think that's a good decision at all. I don't think that stymies Reunited whatsoever. But I mean, back on the topic of this map as well, it's how much are we really going to glean from this map? As it's a very strange one. I like the way that Reunited were able to fold away. We'd see Fnatic get one pick coming on the attack. Reunited would all of a sudden disappear. Couldn't see the wood for the trees. They made themselves very scarce and made it so that Fnatic couldn't snowball one kill into another, because Buds came through with that Roadhog, getting all these hooks, and all of a sudden we saw a very good response from Reunited to make sure they took those defensive positions and then react accordingly.
Yeah, it looks like we're about to get into a replay here. We can see the great defense from United. They're just playing so close together. You can see their positioning, the Reinhardt doing such a great job, holding the rest of Fnatic back, doing a great job of zoning. It seems like they had just superb positioning.
Yeah, it was when Fnatic would all push in one big group. They knew exactly where they had to stand to counter it. They knew what they needed to do as soon as it came. There was never any real flankers coming in from Fnatic that would mix things up in the back. And you can see Zenyatta getting pushed out first and having to pop his ultimate. It's not even really defending anybody. It's just that he got forced first.
Yeah, and they constantly have the high ground as well. You can see that Fnatic have to keep jumping in. They got to battle up, and they're trading kills at this point. But look how clean they've fallen back. They pulled back into that corridor, and then even here at the end, the finishing push for them. I mean, it was so very, very close, but
Yeah, Unfixed showing a lot of different character variety there too. He started off on Junkrat, goes on to Zarya, definitely flexing onto those different characters he needed. And we saw Kib here at the end go absolutely insane, get an incredible chain of kills. We had that bizarre D.Va ult that people just walked into. It was in the middle of the point. How did people even get that?
Yeah, I mean, Buds initially switched to D.Va because Fnatic thought they were straight into stall phase. And then once he actually moved up onto the point, he didn't actually have a chance to switch. So he kept playing on that D.Va. And yeah, kind of random. You don't normally see a defensive D.Va in that case. It was just incidental because Buds didn't have a chance to switch. But it was actually, it took them out of another stall phase. You could see there that Fnatic were at great risk of losing even there. So kind of fortuitous, but definitely I don't think it was planned from the start.
Now, it's actually not going to be Gibraltar as our next map. They agreed with you, Mitch.
Yeah,
so they were like, we go Dorado. Mitch said we should go Dorado. So Dorado is the next map we're going to see between those two teams. It is the semifinals, ladies and gentlemen. So we're heading straight into the second game.
Yes, so Dorado. The map, they came out on top against Misfits, full minute ahead. 4:41 was the time. It was actually a pretty good time. That was just this morning, of course. It was Stir and Hook that cast it. I was thinking, you cast that. I was like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. No, it was Stir and Hook. You were on the desk with me, actually. Yes, we were. So what do we think, Dorado, then? Obviously, we were talking about Bud's hooks earlier on.
Yeah.
And actually, we heard the interview with him when he was discussing it with Rachel. And he's like, actually, I don't ordinarily play it. I was kind of forced to because... who was it? Somebody else was playing something else. I can't think of who it was.
Yeah,
but he was like, I was forced to play it.
It worked out,
it
though.
worked really well.
It totally worked, and not a ton of teams play with this triple tank. It's not completely unheard of by any stretch of the imagination, but triple tank worked so well for this team of Fnatic on attack, on Dorado, and we'll see if they try something like that again.
Yeah.
Of course, as we've mentioned before the series and throughout the series, these two teams have been scrimming nonstop, so we don't know what their personal record is. Of course, this is Fnatic's choice, though, so they probably have something up their sleeve.
Always going to have something up their sleeve. Of course, Dorado was won by Reunited against Rogue in their winner bracket match as well. So both teams are accomplished on here. We'll see whether it works out for them as we get ready to go. It was, trying to think of my point, it was actually Cool Matt that had to play Zarya. So he was like, you know what? You're going to play Zarya. I'm going to have to play the Hog. But this time around, it looks like Bud's obviously on defense, is going to be sticking on that Reaper. We are going to see Cool Matt, though, on the Winston alongside Stoop on the Reinhardt. So double tank start for Fnatic using the Winston.
I'm very interested to see Winston on defense, especially on this point. You typically see Zarya because within that choke point, it's very easy to build up charge quite quickly. So, you know, Cool Matt really known as a Zarya player first. We'll see if he sticks with Winston. It does look like that is very much the case here on defense.
So here we go, 10 seconds to go. Fnatic Reunited, best of 5 on Dorado. Anubis is out the way. Reunited have that one in the books. Will we see this map go the distance, just like Envious and Rogue? We can only hope for such an exciting game. But here we go. It is going to be Kib on the Genji once again. We just saw him going off on Anubis. Valataja taking a massive hit there. I didn't see what hit him. Maybe it was a fire strike. I don't know. Either way, gets himself healed back up by Cruz.
And if you do take a look at the positioning here by Fnatic, they're very far back into the market, which we've seen teams favoring more and more and more as the tournaments and time have gone forward. And of course, that means that they're able to fall back behind the market. There's so much geometry that you can protect yourself with. I definitely like playing back here.
Yeah, just remember Fnatic's defense, though, the first time they played this against Misfits.
Back last time,
they were too far back, and then it was obviously the one man getting caught out that really was the difference. Valataja looking to get himself the rewind around the side there, trying to get himself some damage down on Buds. Gets a little chip, but not a great deal. You can see IDDQD sitting as deep as possible, trying to get those left clicks off. He is starting to land them. It was Winghaven, actually, that's getting chunked down there, below half health, and actually one more little headshot would have took him down, but Mort manages to heal him back up. And both these teams very tentative as they head towards the fountain.
Yeah, what a passive fight here. No, neither team has really pushed in. Maybe they're looking for one ultimate. Who can get the first ultimate out? It's actually Valataja. Will he be able to get anything? Buds and IDDQD will stop this push in its tracks, though. Forte, though, as Zenyatta looking to stop this, but this will be a successful hold for the first push of Reunited. But that was like a really, really long push. That was a 90-second push.
Yeah, and you can see how it nets Fnatic. Of course, they've got themselves 4 ultis. The 5th one about to tick in for Vonethil. So Fnatic going to be feeling pretty confident. 2 minutes almost on the clock. You can see it counting up in the middle of your screens. If you're ever unsure of how far you have to go till victory or what the actual victory goal is, just look towards the middle of the screen. It is all laid out for you. IDDQD not managed to land anything with the Deadeye there. You can see he's going to go right around side. The Panther Hammer on the Primal Rage Monkey is not going to work out too much for him. The Pulse Bomb doesn't land either, but Buds chimes in. Kip goes down. That's a big part of Reunited's attack here. We did mention the amount of ultis that were available for Fnatic, and it does look like it's going to work out in their favor once again as the Buds Copter comes through.
Yeah, Buds, man, he has looked so strong this whole tournament, surprising a lot of us, I think, because this team, you look at the DPS players and you think IDDQD is the star, but Buds really taking the show and making it his.
1 minute 30 on the clock. Reunited. Time to start wondering, do we make adjustments? Unfixed, he's got his Graviton Surge ready and waiting. They're going to look to maybe take the left flank, or they're going to go straight up the middle. The payload's in this awkward position where it doesn't lay any defensive value to you. It actually gives Fnatic a much bigger chance. Valitage getting himself a little glance around the side, tries to get a glimpse in there. You can see immediately the diving straight in there. Winghaven trying to disperse them. Graviton Surge goes down. Bonneville, Cormac caught in there. The Pulse Bomb will come through. Kip gets himself double kill in now as IDDQD and Cormac goes down. This has to now go the way of Reunited.
Yes, the Graviton Surge was good. Kib was there in wait, and we'll be back onto the point. Stoop still fighting his heart out. Actually going to be able to get a kill on Morte. So this is actually not quite over yet, although it does look like Reunited will edge out the win here. IDDQD, the last one on the point with Cool Matt. Last two people, and somehow they're surviving. What is going on here?
Yeah, they came back. They were obviously one of the first to be picked off, managed to get back there, the quickest, most maneuverable heroes in the game. But 3:30, that's a long old time to hold that front point.
This
Fnatic,
is
already
okay, though, for Fnatic. They're going to be able to get the high ground.
Yeah, exactly. Fnatic, of course, going to be a little annoyed that they didn't hold it completely, but the fact is, they're going to get the high ground. They're going to get themselves a great position. The downside is they have 0 ults to jump on down. So if they're going to do it, it's going to be straight up brute force, whereas you can look at Reunited, you can see Kip and Valitage are ready waiting to go on the ledge there.
Look at this flank of
what is going on
flank
back
coming
there
out from Fnatic. They're flanking the attacking team, which only happens with a very adept team. Fnatic, though, they know how to move together. Kib will draw first blood. Stoop was kind of by himself because the rest of his team is flanking, so they never actually executed.
That was a very strange defense. Now, we saw this before, Fnatic versus Misfits. Fnatic gave up the middle section here at the church instantly. However, in that game, Misfits were at the power station within 3 minutes. Fnatic then went on to hold for a large portion of time. So we know their final defense is good. Unfixed gets himself a big blaster fan the hammer to the face from IDDQD. Does manage to survive it, but you can see Reunited pushing on through. Sound barrier goes down. Unfixed comes through, gets the beam working. Valitage and Kip get themselves on the score sheet with the kills, and this is all going the way of Reunited. They're going to hit themselves that point. Custer is going to be the last man to be able to challenge, but I don't think he's going to be able to keep them off. And that will be the third power station section we will move into. And you can see the time now. It's 4 minutes on the clock to close it out, but we're already at 5 minutes plus.
And we move on to the final S-curve. And again, throughout this tournament, we've seen a lot of teams getting stuck here. Time and time again, equally matched teams seem to be just getting stumped on attack. So we'll see. What can Reunited pull together? They've had excellent team coordination, excellent ult coordination. Unfixed has really had Fnatic's number when it comes to that Graviton Surge, grabbing 2 or 3 with every single one of them.
Well, they've got the high ground. Let's see. Bud's positioning. He's trying to stick behind the door well. It does look like Reunited are going to go up the stairwell, so this is prime positioning for Fnatic to try and catch them out. Buds has repositioned now. He was tucked in the edge. We've seen so many times they've gone around the side, but they're going to try and charge out. They want to push them off the high ground, but they're going to get caught in there instead. They're going to try and charge out, but Valitage left without his tank, his easy target there. IDDQD is going to chip down Winghaven. Quick flashbang above and a right click to the face.
Yeah, Fnatic has struck back in a big way, and they're going to hold quite strong here. And indeed, we'll have a number of ultimates for this next fight. It looks like they'll have actually 5. IDDQD, the only player on Fnatic without an ultimate for the next battle. So Reunited definitely going uphill for this one. We'll see though, can they get that initial pick to open this up for their team? So important that they do.
I'm wondering if we're going to see Kip making any changes. Obviously, you can see he's on the Reaper with the Death Blossom, but we know Genji can be quite crucial here. He can obviously get around the back, cause some damage. They are going to try and take the low ground. They're going to force Fnatic to come down, but Fnatic sitting on a plethora of ultis, ready and waiting to go. If they were to take this fight, it looks like it's going to go in their favor. Winghaven is going to try and block out the damage as the Graviton Surge comes in. That was going to be a Stoop trying to pick off the tank, but instead he got Valitage. Not the best of targets. He wanted Winghaven, but it's done the job. It forces him back.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to go the Fnatic's way once again, and they're able to hold on to several ultimates as well. So, still looking in a very nice position. That said, Reunited will be stacked to the teeth next time they fight as well. So it looks like we're headed for a big fight. This next one is going to be pretty hot.
2 minutes and counting. All that's left on the clock. 7 minutes already gone for Reunited. Already we're looking at a pretty long time. Of course, Reunited's defensive turn will be coming up next. They are one map to the good. But IDDQD, if I could only say his name, all the letters in the alphabet required for that one. But he has his Deadeye available, and that's going to slow things down. With only 1:38 on the clock, they've got to get their attack going, because with that going, it's going to zone them out as long as he can. Stoops drop down off the bridge.
Yeah, they had the position on the bridge, but they will just completely abandon it right away. Balutaja gets the first kill in this engagement, and this is boding very well for the Reunited squad. They haven't even used their ultimates yet. They still have the Graviton Surge to their name. Unfit's gonna look for 2, and he does get 2, and that's not a ton, but it should be enough for them to continue forward, and Reunited is gonna get very close to finishing this off here.
Buzz comes through, the Death Blossom not working out for him. Obviously using just about every ulti they had in the book there, but Kib, you can see, still has his Death Blossom to go. Expect him to get up towards the spawn point once he gets back around here. You can see only 2 of them really pushing this payload very tentatively. They realize they can't finish the game just yet. Only 50 seconds on the clock. There's going to be one more attack possible for Reunited before we start getting into this spawn chain of trying to get in there as much as possible. They have to get themselves a clear. Transcendency comes out already. You can see Custer trying to work that down. So Kip's just going to wait for this delay. They all get Graviton surging around the side. Look at Kip come around. Is he going to be able to get anything from this one? He's sitting, holding onto it. The Death Blossom does nothing, and Buzz wipes him out. 29 seconds on the clock. I don't think they've got enough left.
That's a disaster for Reunited because they wasted, oh, actually he never even used the Death Blossom. Yeah, he's actually knocked out of it. Kib still holding onto it, and actually one last possible chance here. A couple ultimates to their name as well. No support ultimates though, so they're not going to be able to engage with impunity, but they will potentially have the opportunity to get in here.
IDDQD can just zone them out. There's only 6 seconds left. They have to just go like a bat out of hell to try and get in here. Just come around the side. Let's have a look at IDDQD. He's going to sit around the side. There's going to be the Deadeye. Doesn't get anything with it. They try and contest the point. They have to stick around, and all that overtime will just tick on down. You can see it's working out in their favor. Fnatic are going to make a hold here. They have the meter marker of 75.61. That's all they have as Unfit comes around the side. Winghaven jumps on up there, but he's getting nothing from this one. The Graviton Surge comes through, but there's no follow-up. You can see the flashbang. Fan the Hammer. He gets picked up. Unfix manages to get himself a kill. Have they got enough? The spawn chain is going to come in, and Stoop's going to try and work them off the point.
It's still a 2v2 on the point, but everyone's streaming in through the spawn, so that Fnatic team is going to be able to push them off for the time being. That said, it's 3v3 now as Reunited streaming in from their spawn, as overtime will be ticking down faster and faster and faster, and Buds stacked with his Death Blossom, Vanafil as well with Sound Barrier, so this should be a fight that goes the way of Fnatic.
Look how fast our overtime is. They have to get on it. They have to stand around it. IDDQD comes in. Buds comes through. That is going to be Fnatic wiping them off the point. Overtime will tick down. It will be a distance marker for Reunited, and Fnatic, you can tell, that gives them a boost of confidence.
And like we said earlier, man, this last point on Dorado continues to be a pain for a lot of attacking teams.
Yeah.
The spawn point for defense is a little bit closer, especially the further and further that payload moves forward, the closer and closer it is to the defenders.
It's so hard if you just don't get the clean wipe of like 3 or 4 in one quick burst. It immediately gives a chain spawn that was just going to keep it contested. It's going to work out in their favor. So 3 minutes 30 it took them to take that first point. That was really a big portion of the time delay. Reunited are not going to be too happy about that. We'll see how they handle it. They're going for a very similar team comp, so it's going to be pretty even between them. But at the moment, we are seeing Fnatic once again with Buds on the hog, and he worked out very well against Misfits.
And I absolutely like this pick because Buds, first of all, he's been hitting the hooks, but almost more importantly, if you're not able to hit the hooks, at least you're still going to be able to wear down the enemy's Reinhardt shield, and that's really one of the great things about Roadhog is just his ability to dole out pure damage against those Reinhardt shields.
Well, he's trolling us right now as he flicks on through. Switching between Junkrat, almost certainly not going to be playing that on attack. But what we might see is a little arrow to get a peek. We have seen Hanzo making an appearance throughout these finals as we work our way through. But Reunited, I'm interested to see how defensive line they hold. Where they're going to sit back, they're going to be around the fountain. It looks like Winghaven wants to go fairly deep on this one. 20 seconds on the clock before they spawn. Come out of that point, but look how aggressive Reunited are looking at the moment. This is unusual. We saw Rogue doing this, I believe, earlier on today against Complexity.
Am I in a low 60s ranked game? What is this? Why are they so far forward on the roads? This is basically something you rarely see ever from the top teams.
Was it yesterday Rogue did this? No, it's Reunited. The Reunited versus Rogue. Reunited did this versus Rogue, and it backfired horrifically, and it looks like it might well work again. Fnatic knew exactly what was going on. They went around the left side, and look at this. Like you say, awkward. Reunited forced with their backs against the wall by the payload. This is so confusing.
I'm watching from above, and they've actually switched sides. The attacking teams are on defense.
And he's built. Well, kills will be going Fnatic's way. I mean, I wouldn't have expected any different because, let's face it, they're coming straight out the spawn. They still haven't moved the payload, though, so the delay tactic has worked. You can see it's 30 seconds off the clock already, but now the question is, will Reunited reposition, get themselves in and around the fountain quick enough before Fnatic get there? You can see the forward runners of Fnatic. You can see IDDQD wants to get a couple of left clicks. The second they come around the side there, even gets a long-range fan, the hammer down to try and get Winghaven's shield, but they are going to get in position. Now, they've got to make sure they don't get wiped out there. They bought themselves a minute on the clock before it even hits the payload. So technically, the tactic worked.
Yeah, I guess you're right. The only problem there was that there was a lot of spam coming in through the doors. It wasn't for sure if Reunited could get positioning, but they have, and they are holding strong.
Stoops Earth Shadow misses there. That's not something I've been used to seeing, but Kim gets executed on top of the fountain by IDDQD there. The left click's working down as well. And of course, without that positioning, it's not going to work in their favor. IDDQD picked up by Mort, though. That's going to be a good job from the Zenyatta. Stoop goes charging in, pings Winghaven to the wall, but taken so low, but he doesn't get taken down. He was on 30 health. Finally goes down to Cruz the Lucio coming through. Valataja gets the Death Blossom off. He picks himself up a triple, and Reunited will hold strong. 2 minutes and counting.
That was looking good for Fnatic for a split moment, but Reunited with their team play to make it happen, to bring that back, bring the control of the payload back. And you're right, D-Man. I guess that they play that far forward because they know that they're still going to have time to get on into the markets phase. And I guess that strategy has worked out for them here. With only 2 minutes left on the clock, this is no longer a good time for the first point, and it's putting a lot of pressure now on Fnatic. That said, look at how many ultimates are up for both teams in this next engagement. Is going to be wild.
They're going through the building around the side there. That's going to work out in favor of Fnatic. You can see the Transcenders coming out. ID key from range. Doesn't get anything from the Deadeye. We can see the Transcenders just about keeping them out with the fountain, blocking it off. Valataja chimes himself in with 1 kill on Custer. That's the supports going down as Stoop goes wild. Gets himself 1-2. IDDQD pushes on through. Coolmat working him down. They're going to clear out the payload. And that is going to be Fnatic pushing through in a very decent time on the first section. 2 minutes 30 is all it took. Much quicker than Reunited.
It's great to see that aggression come out of Reinhardt. You know, you don't see it from all the Reinhardts in the game, but Stoop saw the moment for himself, and he swung for the rafters, able to deal out a whole bunch of damage, get the kills that his team needed. And but that said, for Reunited, they're going to have plenty of time to take the positioning that they want. Kib will be flanking here with Genji taking his way. Actually, he'll be rejoining his team.
They're going to drop down early. Winghaven goes down, tries to force something out of Stoop there. Didn't actually throw anything down, trying to like fake out the fact that he had Earth Trap to try and draw some sort of transcendency out or a sound barrier. Nothing happened. Fnatic, they didn't have anything to do, so it was kind of like faking each other with nothing. It's an interesting card game going on. Kip goes diving in, gets himself the Dragon Blade, gets himself 1 down with Custer, blocks off the nice damage from Buds there, but he doesn't get a great deal else. And while that's all happening, you can see IDDQD and Stoop continue to wreck Reunited. So the payload is going to move unhindered around this church.
You know, we didn't actually get a chance to watch all of it on stream, but IDDQD has absolutely been doling out a crazy amount of damage here for his team on attack. Fnatic rolling forward much on the back of that as well as they do move on to this final area. Where will Reunited decide to set up on defense here? Will they try to take the high ground? It doesn't look like they have time. Doesn't look like they have the opportunity. Unfixed actually very far away now with Zarya all the way off in the wings. Still enough time though. They will be clashing very soon.
We saw Coolmat pulling off a mega Zarya ulti on this exact point on the defense against Misfits. Let's see if Unfixed can do the same. He catches it's only Stoop that he catches out there. Less than ideal. You see Winghaven piling in, doesn't really get a great deal from it. IDDQD from range, he's being untouched. Nobody's even attempting to him. He's just left looking for freedom. This is just about your best bet as a McCree. Nobody even wants to go near you.
Buds is up close and personal, will drop the ultimate, getting 2. Custom will get a 3rd. So now this is a big advantage for Fnatic as they push on forward to the next objective.
They're going to have themselves, what, 7 minutes, 6 minutes, 20 seconds? Tell a lie, 4 minutes, 20 seconds. My math is terrible. How did I not plus that together? It's 2 + 2. It's hard work.
We're here now.
It's hard work. That's why you're here with me, Ben. That's why you're here with me. Just to help me through these senile moments that I tend to have.
Well, it's not a matter of minutes, it's actually a matter of meters.
Distance,
now the payload has to get all the way around the corner, and it will surely be able to make its way pretty close now, as Reunited has to put up a strong defense, but of course, as we keep mentioning, this is a really hard point to push onto, but the positioning,
look at this, they're already there. And look around side. Buds is actually got himself tucked in the corner. Will going to just Wraith form away. Actually, this has backfired horribly. Valataja comes in, gets himself the fan, the hammer down, and Stu goes dropped off. But Cruz and Mort get picked off, so no support left for Reunited. Really strange positioning. They're going to drop like flies. Fnatic looking like they're going to take this map with ease at the moment. As you can see, Fnatic dropping left, right, and center, pushing on through. Reunited going to get cleared off. The big golden marker staring you in the face. They're going to get a couple of respawns, but it is going to be the support players, and they are going to struggle to stop this.
Just barely enough time to get there. Winghaven is going to be able to stop the payload in the last 11th hour, but he gets pushed off. He got booped off by Lucio. He got thrown off the point when it counted the most, and Fnatic will take map number 2.
Solid stuff from Fnatic. We're all square, one apiece. And honestly, it was their map choice. You would expect nothing less. Solid defensive hold for a very long period of time. 3 minutes 30 on the initial point. That was really the big difference for them. Fnatic proving they have it in them. Considering we saw very different defensive rounds when you think right back to their first game of the tournament against Misfits, it was incredibly fast. I think it was within 50 seconds they'd lost that initial point. So they've definitely adapted, overcome, and really strengthened themselves throughout this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. Great play there by Fnatic. Going to take map number 2 and looking. And I guess it's going to be Reunited's pick now. I wonder what.
Yeah, Reunited's pick indeed. Let's see where they're going to go. Let's get over to the analyst desk to take us through Dorado.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, let's talk about the game we just saw. Fnatic took that map away from them. And let's actually talk about Fnatic's defending play right there. Mitch, you had a lot to say about that.
Well, I found it quite notable as well. I was probably going to ask you for your thoughts on it here, because we saw Fnatic actually run, not with a Reinhardt or a never Reinhardt, no Zarya, they had a Winston on defense instead, and they sat very far back in that courtyard.
They're holding Dorado first point, and they're standing way back behind the fountain, which actually can be pretty smart, because sometimes Overwatch ends up being this crazy, chaotic game, Lucio speed boost tracers going everywhere, and it's like they're playing for that. They don't want people to flank around them on the side of the stairs, and they have the Winston and also a highly mobile team so that they can react to this. So it's not typically what you see where Reinhardt holds a choke point. It's, we know you're going to get through it anyway. Let's just hold back a little bit.
We did see Fnatic do exactly the same thing yesterday. However, that didn't work out for them at all. And we actually did point it out as something a little wonky, a little odd, a little off, because that didn't seem to work.
Sometimes good strategies just don't work. I mean, Symmetra is good on Dorado when it works. And it's good to see that Fnatic prove that their strategy, they have a reason why they do it. And I think they held for like 3-4 minutes. There was really good, well done.
I want to say that they did a great job there, but then on the church phase, on the other hand, it seemed like they just blew right past them, and they took up a weird position as well. They gave up the high ground near the church, and they actually hold back on that side, and they collapsed down, but they got wiped once, and because they held so far back, they blitzed through, and they had a great hold at the end, though.
And I have a theory as to why we're seeing, I guess, a refinement of this Fnatic defending strategy over the last day or so. Because, like a week ago, back during the qualifiers, Fnatic's defensive hold on Dorado looked nothing like this whatsoever. The whole plan was actually to push out from the courtyard past the statue up to the right-hand side, or at least to try and just match up with the enemy team, the attacking team, and sort of meet them where they try to come through. That's a bit riskier, of course, because you're putting yourself in the face of the enemy team. But if you remember the spot, if teams attacking want to go up the left side, they're going to go up all the stairs and then set up. Fnatic used to catch a team while they were walking up the stairs, and their whole flank, the whole side of them was open. You couldn't even hide behind a Reinhardt shield. For some reason, they've decided to change that, and that's fine, because I like this. But yeah, that's maybe why it's taken them a while to get it all set up and ready to go.
Well, so Dorado was map we just saw. Now we're heading over to Ilios. So I would really very much like you guys to somehow lead us through this map. Tell us what we can expect from either of those teams here.
Well, I think we all knew that this was going to be the map they picked, especially Mitch, I think, called that out early. It just seems like they're a strong King of the Hill playing team. And then on the other hand, Fnatic are a bad King of the Hill team.
I would say not so great. Yeah, this is where Fnatic were actually they actually managed to win this map against Cloud9, so I wouldn't be too harsh on them. It wasn't the best performance from them on this map generally. I think the Ruin phase was average for Fnatic, but Reunited picked this map up first. They looked at a map pool where 60% of the maps weren't played at all, and they said, let's try something. Let's give ourselves an excuse to be one of the top teams. Let's catapult ourselves forward. They just started practicing Ilios first. I don't think they have any crazy strategy that blows minds, and I think Fnatic are one of the teams that will be more prepared to take them on this map, but it's always been Reunited's safe haven. It's the only map they used to win against Envious, for example.
What do you guys think makes Reunited strong on this map?
European.
Is it playing the Europeanness?
Just Europeans.
Yeah, it's just like this part of the skill. Like you have aim, you have positioning, and you have Europeans.
Yes.
Yes. I don't know.
I just think, yeah, in general, Europeans are way better, and I also think that mechanically.
Thanks, thank you.
I think mechanically too that they're stronger team. On the other side, Fnatic, they're just better on those payload maps. We talked about it many times. They have really great coach support, and I don't know. I feel like IDDQD is not playing up to date so far.
Well, we're going to see what they're having in store for us game-wise on Ilios, and that's where we're heading right now. So, guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Zoe. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see how they've adapted. Fnatic did a great job as Rachel gives an appearance. It's a guest appearance, you know. She likes to get herself in shot now and again. I don't think she was quite expecting us to come back on shot there. But Ilios is the map. And Ben, we saw them obviously make the adjustments this morning. We talked about how they got 3-0'd on the poll, and then they come back and win 3-1 against Misfits. So clearly Fnatic have done some work. We heard IDDQD talking about the McCree usage, which we almost certainly expect to see from Valataja maybe this time around. Ilios, of course, was in the map rotation for the regional final, so a lot of the teams will have practiced this map.
Yeah, that said, Reunited, they have looked strong on King of the Hill maps since the earliest phases of the beta. This team has been around the block a couple of times, and they always impress when we go to the King of the Hill. That said, I'm not used to seeing them here on Ilios, so I'm not really sure what they're going to have in store for us now. And we're starting on Ruins, which is a particularly strange point, I'd say, because it's so far from the spawn points compared to most other King of the Hill maps. You got to run quite a ways, and then you just basically jump into a pit. So being in the point itself is actually a disadvantage. You don't have the high ground when you're capturing the point.
Let's see what they're going to go with. Are we going to see the McCrees, or will it be the Tracers? Tracers could sort of come back into it a little bit more. I think the teams mainly agreed that's the best way to go. I'm more interested to see where Kib's going to go. Is he going to stick with his Genji? Because, my God, he can go off on that one. Winghaven, looking like we're not going to see a... no, okay, we're going to see Winston's for both sides. Yeah. I was wondering whether we're going to get a reinforce. We're not going to get reinforce in here. We're going to get a Reinhardt in there. Reinhardt on reinforce. Okay, he's in my head. He's in my brain for the finals.
All right, the gates have opened, and I do like the Genji pick because you can hit pretty long-range shurikens on this point, as it is such a long map. So that's probably what he's looking for here.
So last time I watched Buds against Ono here, he absolutely went off on this map, got himself a quad kill from the start. Of course, this is a big difference. We'll see how it works out. Reunited, not Ono. They are a very different team entirely that sadly don't exist anymore. They disbanded after the qualifiers, but you can see it is going to be Fnatic that's trying to start it off. Still no kill going either way. Coolmat, though, taken very, very low with that shield.
Oh, wow, look at this. Bud's going straight for the Winston, trying to target him down, but in the end, it will be Kib who does take first kill. Winghaven left with almost no health at all. He's forced to at least back off, giving Fnatic a tiny bit of breathing room, but still, they are down one player.
Valataja just constantly working down Buds. Buds is just like, God, I've just got myself some health. I can't get away with this. But you can see the kill field. You know what's going on. It's Kib. Kib going off on the Genji. I'm expecting to see Buds possibly change to Genji as this game progresses. At the moment, he's sticking with the Reaper until he gets that ulti.
Reaper can still be very, very good on this point. Of course, once you are in that pit, you're within Reaper's domain. You're within his reach, and that's what Bud's is going to be looking for here with Coolmat, with his team, as they jump on in. And let's take a look.
Pulse bomb thrown out early there. Valataja didn't actually land on anything, so the pulse bomb kind of wasted. Unfix is going to get himself around the side, though. Gets a big charge up on the Xayah, and will manage to work it down. Coolman with the sound barrier being kept alive there. Keep trying to look for those targets, but at the moment, it is still Reunited coming out on top in this kill feed. 45% you can see very much in their favor, and they will all get picked off. All the ultis we use there, though. Winghaven getting that primal rage off, but Valataja and Unfix now going to stack on, so it's that Graviton bomb combination that we've seen so so often in King of the Hill.
I wonder if Fnatic can smell this out and spread apart equally. Of course, teams at the highest level will definitely be watching out for that Zarya every single time as best as they can. They don't want to get stuck. Fnatic, they're running out of time here with 70% on the point.
That's a 5-man cluster coming through, and they've just walked straight into it. Where's the pulse bomb? Is it going to come through? Mork gets himself in there. They all back away with very little help. You can see Custer comes in, but the damage was done. The pulse bomb managed to work down well. They haven't managed to pick up enough kills though. Valentine is just back around the side, trying to get some chip damage. Winghaven comes in, collects himself another kill, and Fnatic kept away from the ruins. 89%. Are we going to see a 100% shutout on map number 1?
That would be rough. That would bode very poorly for Fnatic, but again, we do suspect that Reuniteds are the heavy favorites when we go to King of the Hill. So they are probably going to be choosing this every time that they lose a map in this series. We'll see if that comes into play in a little bit here.
Overtime ticking. Let's see if they can get in there. You can see Kumat comes up through. Winghaven manages to chime in. IDD Kidik trying to keep from range, trying to get some left clicks working, but he's got a primal rage Winghaven in his face. He has to back away. He gets batted onto the point. Ironically, not really where he wanted to go. You can see he's got Unfixed just with the shield pushing him around, but now he's got just about everybody focusing on him. IDD Kidik, health is dropping. He has to back away. Valataja will clean him out, but tries to get his Death Blossom off, but it's too late. 100-0 for Reunited on map 1.
You know, I got to call out Valataja in that game. His Tracer almost never died. The pulse bombs were decent, but really, he was just so annoying. It never allowed Buds to get into any kind of rhythm or even really get on the point, which is where he needed to be as Reaper.
Whew. Dry yourself off, son. You've got a lot of games to go here. Focus on the face of Buds. Of course, see if it's going to work out for him. Stoop looking pretty intently. Not going to pull out the Reinhardt once again. It is all about the Winston here as we move into the well, of course, the area where is the giant well. We're not going to see a... You never know when you're going to get to see a hog on this map, because everybody knows how annoying it is, but also look for the boops, people getting knocked into that well.
And absolutely, this is another great point for Genji. So many obstacles, so much geometry that you can climb up on, so many perches like we're seeing Kip take right here and right now. It's going to be so annoying to take him down from that perch.
Let's see if Kip can get working on Genji here. Not totally convinced by the Genji, but you know what? What do I know about this game? IDD Kidi, quick headshot from Kip there, executes him. Butts gets to get a reply though. Valataja, so both damage dealers down for either side, but Winghaven going off. Butts still alive. Real pesky thorn in the side of any Winston player is a Reaper, and he's getting up close and personal. Don't think his Cruz is going to be able to get away from this one. Just skips and jumps and speed boosts himself away, but they don't cap out the point. He's down in the well. Not getting out of it this time, son. Down you go.
Yeah, he did his best to try and stay alive, and man, a Lucio with an orb, a Harmony orb, is really hard to kill from time to time, but Cruz did not want to go down in that way, as his team is now falling apart. Fnatic will take the first capture.
So, they finally get themselves on the board here on Ilios. Now can they hold it? Vonnefield with the sound barrier already and waiting to go, as well as Mort with the Transcendence. So, plenty of options. Coolmat's going to have his charge up just alongside Unfixed. Both very close to getting this Graviton Surge off. And of course, you can see Valataja. Is he going to hang on to that Pulse Bomb to match with it? At the moment, you can hear Graviton Surge goes off. Where is it?
Where is it? Where is it? Kim is getting sucked in through the wall, actually. Coolmat, Custa, IDDQD, Custa again. And that is 4 kills in a row for Fnatic. Feeling quite confident now.
That's what you want.
Coolmat gotten into the groove.
Coolmat does his thing, and like I say, getting into the groove, it was Coolmat was the big difference against Misfits over on Nepal earlier on today. This morning's decider match. Bud's got himself his Death Blossom ready, waited to go as well. Trying to see if he can sit up close. Kip's going to try and get the flank around. You can see the positioning. Reunited trying to group up, gather themselves in. They know there's no Graviton Surge to worry about, so here they go.
And the fight does engage, and both teams have a whole bunch of ultimates to their name. It's going to be a big ultimate coming out of, who was that? It was Unfixed, of course, but a ton of kills going the way of Valataja. That had to be a Pulse Bomb to get 3 kills in a row.
Yeah, quick, easy Pulse Bomb. Stacked them in there, worked perfectly. Unfixes Graviton Surge. Just about what you want. It's a quad kill for Valataja in the end there. That's what he expected, but 71% was the count for Fnatic. So they got themselves a good old charge now, but now they're sitting on the ulti advantage. They have themselves a stack there. And Kib, more importantly, has that Dragon Blade. We've seen what he can do with this. And Fnatic, well, they've got to be careful. They don't see those supports going down early because there is no sound barrier or transcendence to protect them.
All right, what can Fnatic do here? They've got to look for an early pick here, and it's going to be the Winston and the, engaging first, dropping that shield. That's what he needs, but Kib has gone nuts. He's getting kill after kill, and once again, Fnatic has been stumped. Still plenty of time, though, Lee.
Yeah, the Dragon Blade doing its job, not wasting too many ultis. Winghaven did use the Primal Rage and Sound Barrier also went down from Cruz, so a triple ulti to make sure they secure themselves another 20-30% on the counter. It's kind of what you need to do when you're 70% down. So Bud's now coming in, does have his Death Blossom ready and waiting. See if he can catch any sneaky position. You can see he's trying to stick at the back. There's the speed boost. Gonna get himself the flank around the side. Graviton Surge comes in. He gets sucked in with the rest of his team, and that's less than ideal. And now, okay, because it's going to be Fnatic going to get wiped off the point. Bud's the last man standing, will get beaten down. We're going to be seeing Reunited taking the lead here on Well.
And Reunited absolutely toying with Fnatic right now. The last 3 pushes in a row have been absolutely swatted away like a fly. I don't
understand Bud's there, because he was kind of safe from that, going through the building, then thought, you know what, I'm just going to walk into the Graviton Surge.
Well, if the rest of my team is here, it must be a good place to be.
I joined them.
And now we're actually tied up as Fnatic is at 71%, Reunited 79%. They have to engage now. It's going to be done with the sound barrier as the fight begins.
Buzz tries to get work done on Winghaven, but the Primal Rage is going to be enough to keep him ticking. Kib's got himself his ulti ready and waiting to go the Dragon Blade. Is he going to be able to get it off? That's the question as IDDQD continues to try and work down these supports. Goes looking, hunting for the kills, but not able to find more. Does finally finish him off, but in comes Kib. Gets himself a slice and a dice. Get to IDDQD. Down, in goes the second. Buzz gets dropped. Custer, your next, son. You're not going to get away. There's no health pack for you. And that will be Reunited taking it 2-0 here.
Oh, Fnatic looks so good for a moment. For just a moment, but all of a sudden something happened in the heads, in the minds, in the voice comms for Reunited. They were able to bring it together, and man, that was a very convincing performance. Able to just swat away so many pushes, and really, I gotta give it to Unfixed, because how many Graviton Surges sucked up 3 or 4 people, and it happened at least 3 or 4 times in that game.
Yeah, Fnatic seemed to be struggling to retake the point. They got to 71%. It was a great start from 71-0. It looked like it may well be a 100-0 flip. But the second they lost it, they couldn't get anything back. That was the problem. That was the real difference. And Reunited right now are in a very good position to go 2-1 up here in this best of 5 series. Rogue await the finalist. Who's going to be there? Are Fnatic, the only North American team left in this tournament, going to be able to reach there? I mean, this is something that was surprising. When we saw Fnatic on day 1, you were thinking, well, okay, America has turned up. This is going to be really interesting with Cloud9 and Envious. Envious going out shockingly to Rogue, and now Fnatic looking like they're in trouble against Reunited.
Yeah, still, of course, 1-1 in map score, still in it, and they're going to have a chance here. This is one that's going to be a little bit tighter corridors, which means Bud could start to fit into where he wants to with this team. And Reunited, they've got to be wary of Buds. Of course, they don't have any Reaper on their side, but Fnatic has been absolutely decimated in this fight. Reunited will be taken down pretty low as well, so it's actually a close battle now. Kib left on the point. It's going to be Genji versus Reaper. Who's going to come out on top? Usually you're going to see Genji able to back away, and he gets it. He jumps right in after throwing the shurikens, and that is pretty nice stuff out of Kib.
Takes his head clean off in the corner there. Buds I've seen going off in a 4v2 before on that point, so I wasn't exactly sure how to call it. You never know, really, with Custer support, with that Discord off, it could easily go the favor of the Reaper, but this time Fnatic lose out, and again, it is going to be Reunited a hold. Here we go, speed boost goes in, Snoop just charging around the side. Valataja, though, instantly taking Custer and Snoop down. Unfixed comes in, Graviton Surge does its job. I tell you what, it wasn't even Graviton Surge, it was a straight up left click to the face.
I mean, that push was over before it even began, because if Valataja was flanking from behind, he found the opportunity for the pulse bomb, and when you're down 5 versus 6, you're not going to have a good time, not on Lighthouse.
So, ulti, let's have a look. It's that pesky Genji, isn't it, that's been causing them problems. Kib has been a very inspirational pickup for Reunited, I think it's safe to say. Dragon Blade goes off, don't know where it is. Buzz has to back away, he's got no health left. We don't see too many kills though. Cormac going down, there's going to get on towards Custer, doesn't actually get him, and instead has to back away. Graviton Surge comes through, that's going to hold them up in the air, and it will be Reunited that will come out on top again. IDDQD jumping to his death around the side there to keep himself respawning with his team. 62% and counting. We're not surely going to see another 100-0. Can we see a 3-0 on Ilias from Reunited here?
That would be wild stuff, and it's looked pretty dominant, to be frank. And I was on the analysis desk, we were talking about the fact that Genji not necessarily working out for, in the previous match on Nepal, or Lijiang Tower and Nepal, but here on this map, this is where Genji really shines.
Trying to get the quick flip there, Fnatic trying to sneak themselves in. You can see it's almost worked their way, but now you can see the response comes through. Mort gets in there, but IDDQD going off. He gets himself kill after kill. Buzz gets himself on the point. You can see he's getting a real pesky Balotage who has the pulse bomb ready and waiting to go. Throws it out there. Sticky on Buzz. Has to Wraith form away. Gets himself to safety as he backs around the side. But it is Kip back in place. And Kip starts going off. Dragon Blade comes in. IDDQD charges in. Dodges the pulse bomb. And IDDQD kills himself with the pulse bomb.
Oh no, playing with fire there, but able to get the win in the end. 3 points to 0. Very dominant stuff coming out of Reunited, and I think this is going to be a storyline for this match. Of course, because Reunited has the advantage at this point in time, it means that even if the next map does go to Fnatic, it's going to be up to Reunited to choose the last map in this best of 5, and likely going to be another King of the Hill, I'd say.
Yeah, 100-0 twice is not good on King of the Hill, both on Ruins and Lighthouse. For Reunited there, solid stuff, and you can see Drunks in the background. A lot of experience, formerly played with the guys from Reunited, ironically. This time around representing Fnatic as their manager. Let's see what the analyst desk have to digest with that Ilios map.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Reunited took that one in a very convincing manner. Now let's discuss this a little bit. Mitch, you just said Reunited would have won on this very map, even against Envy.
Looking at them today as well, I mean, we're not really putting Envy up the top of the heap anymore, are we, technically? But they look incredibly good. Fnatic were not even really involved in that game. This is Reunited's map. It's their lawn, and Fnatic knew pretty quickly to get the heck off.
That's pretty much the gist of it. I think they held on pretty well for one map because Buds was doing so well. He had such an incredible kill streak there on Reaper. But pretty much every game was dominated by Reunited, like we saw coming. They picked Ilios, they wanted it, and Kib was on fire this game.
I think that's the story for Fnatic in general so far today. It's been, what, Buds doing really well, Stoop as well, kind of contributing. But I feel like IDDQD and Vanathil and everybody else, I mean, they're doing their job. They're not making any big mistakes, but at the same time, when you're playing at this high of a level, you're playing at the semifinals. You gotta really push through, and you need more than 2 players.
All right, so what map are we going to see next? Now it is Fnatic's time to choose again, and which map can they choose to make Reunited feel a little less comfortable than what we just saw?
They're definitely going to go to a payload. I don't know which payload, but they're way more comfortable on that for sure. It could be a Gibraltar or King's Row. Really not sure, it just depends which one they want to do.
Hollywood, maybe Route 66. Yeah. I'm thinking something like that, but not King of the Hill.
If you're Fnatic right now and you choose Route 66, you just committed suicide on stage in front of all these people. You are going to lose that one to Reunited. Another one of the pocket maps that they are really going to be strong on here. I generally agree with you. I think it might well be a payload map here. Reunited were ready for Hanamura yesterday. I think they're very, very strong in general on those King of the Hill maps. Hollywood's a possibility, but Fnatic is still discussing what map to pick. And I don't think there's a clear-cut answer to that question.
Well, that's disappointing.
Yeah.
I hope for predictions, but that's okay too. Is there, I mean, you said no King of the Hill for sure. In case we're tying it up, having a 2-2 with the maps left, what do you guys think Reunited will be second strongest as they already showed us they're strongest with Ilios?
Maybe King of the Hill, Route 66. What do you think?
Yeah, Numbani, Route 66, Nepal, all maps that Reunited should realistically be strong on. And they're still acceptably good on 2 control point maps too.
Absolutely. I mean, the team, the map picks here are super important. It really is coming down a lot to that because Reunited is so strong on King of the Hill. When you have the power to say, if I pick the map, we get a point. That's incredibly powerful, and it could really just come down to that as a whole.
And that's what's really interesting about this tournament. Even against Cloud9, we saw every time they played on Dorado, it was like an instant loss. They were just horrible. They fell apart. And then even Complexity on Gibraltar, they kept picking it and kept losing on it, and then finally they switched it up and they actually did a little bit better. So it just seems like maps are super important. And actually, we're going to be playing on Hollywood.
All right, and Hollywood doesn't wait for us because the guys are ready and so are we. So we're going to head to our casters in just a bit. I can't wait to see the guys playing on Hollywood. Who is going to be feeling more comfortable there? I mean, Fnatic picked it, but what how are you Reunited doing in Hollywood?
The fact that it's control point first, I mean, it's not exactly payload.
Type it.
Yeah, it's definitely a map where team coordination is super important. Getting that high ground on the second stage of Hollywood is something that Fnatic is going to be way more good at. I think they're going to be able to get their team up there. They're always really coordinated, taking those positions. I don't know. I think Fnatic looks good here, but I still think Reunited might beat them on this one.
Well, we will find out in just a few seconds, and now we are ready to go. So get hyped for the next map of this wonderful semi-finals here at the Overwatch Atlantic Showdown. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Zoe and the crew. Ben, we move on to Hollywood. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a little nervous for Fnatic now. Fnatic choosing Hollywood. This is the map they fell on against Cloud9 in the regionals. This is the map they couldn't get through the Wild West section. And then they fell apart. The reverse sweep went Cloud9's way. This is some big ballsy choices from Fnatic to go against Reunited.
You know what, Lee? At least it's not a king of the hill. Fnatic needs the breathing room. They need an opportunity to exhibit their strategy and their coordination. You know, one of the things that we were talking about on the desk previously today and yesterday as well is just how well Fnatic moves as a team. And that might sound simple. Of course, moving from point A to point B, not the most complex thing in the world, but they do it in a way most teams don't. It's like Stoop is like a protecting mama bird. He's got his little chicks and they're moving along just together. They'll be speed boosted from one point to another. They're always going to take the advantageous position because of this attribute of the team.
Speaking of advantageous positions, let's see how the defense works out. There's been a number of different meta shifts that have worked through Hollywood. It's been a very popular map. Obviously, there you saw that section there where Fnatic plowed through and battered out all the furniture. And it's actually one of the positions where we may actually see Stoop holding steady, protecting IDDQD. Now, more recently, we've seen them holding the low ground, switching across, because obviously the adjustments that came out from the attackers, they were used to go in with the Divas, the Genjis, everybody pile in onto that point, and suddenly it becomes chaos on the top of the Goldshire Inn, I believe it is. That's just around the corner there. Very interested to see how this is going to go, and more importantly, is Kib going to stick to Genji because he's on it right now?
I think so. This is a good map for Genji indeed. And actually, Lee, this is the first time we're seeing Hollywood in this entire tournament.
Yes.
I am so excited to watch it go down.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out. It will be the final map as well, which is the real interesting fact, because obviously both Rogue will be sat watching this intently to see exactly how the boot camps have gone for these teams. Who are they going to be facing? Reunited are the favorites right now as they push on round. Kib going to get the flank around the back, trying to draw them out. Winghaven goes in, but Balotage has been picked off already by IDDQD. Butts hold strong. Winghaven's aggression doesn't pay off, goes a little too deep, and Fnatic hold the first attack.
Now it was a three-pronged attack for Reunited there. They were flanking around the far left with Tracer. Genji was coming over top, and the rest of the army was coming through the middle, but in the end, it was just Fnatic able to get that initial 2 picks that shut that entire push down. So it only works if you're able to get one of those early advantages.
Well, Balotage went around the left side very early away from his team there, actually to surprise. He actually drew 2 members of Fnatic around the left here. You can see them around there having a little peek. The rest of Reunited can now back them up. They're trying to get the flanking maneuvers, but it's not working out. Winghaven's gone too deep again, and Buds once again has his number. Kib chimes in, gets himself stooped down. So the big Reinhardt shield is picked off, but they have to deal with Buds, who keeps on getting kill after kill, and they can't deal with the damage dealers of Fnatic, and they clear them once again.
And here comes Unfixed. He's going to try to take down any of the supports by himself. He's like, please kill me. I need a respawn. He could, of course, have run away, but then he would, he could have been killed anyway.
He cheekily got himself the top charge as well. He got himself full shield on, so did what he could to get that Graviton Surge available, of course. You can see both ultis all very much ready. Fnatic got themselves 5 stacked up as they go piling in, but that's a big kill. Buzz has been the main defensive hold so far for Fnatic, and he goes down. Deadeye coming out, not going to land a great deal. Does manage to just get a little charge onto Unfix's shield there. Kib continues to try and flick out their shurikens. Goes for IDDQD, gets himself the first charge on him. Will get finished off by Winghaven. Both damage dealers now down. Transcendence will delay as long as they can. Buds is respawning on his way back in. They're already going to try and get the position on him as he goes around the side. He's got his Death Blossom ready and waiting to go, but it doesn't matter. The rest of his team have been picked off, and Reunited will cap out point A.
And that point was capped basically because Buds was overextended. He was just a little bit too far ahead up top, caught out by the jumping up Winston, and of course the Genji just jumping up right onto Buds, and a little bit of an overextension means the point is over.
So, now it is about passing a time or a distance for Reunited. First nervy section is over. It took them over 2 minutes. Not the greatest, but a respectable time nonetheless here in the semi-finals of the Overwatch Atlantic Showdown. They are playing the best in the world right now, but you can see the high ground has been gained by Fnatic. Expect to see them drop down. Remember, Buds is holding on to Wraith form. Death Blossom. He could Wraith form as well.
And the question here, Buds is going to just drop down right away.
Straight in there.
Teams on defense will love to hold the high ground, but you have to know when to drop down. And they saw the opportunity. Buds is going to come down with the Death Blossom, and that's that push done for Reunited.
So, Fnatic, solid hold, expected. They had the high ground, they had the ultis, but now Reunited are going to try and challenge them out. And this is the thing. This is why Kib's obviously playing as Genji in the first place. A, he's damn good on it. B, it's very useful to try and help take the high ground alongside Winghaven, try and take control. You can see all 6 members of Fnatic are up here. They're not bothering using that big shield. IDDQD, Deadeye, not going to find his target. It's just using that. Look, he's just trying to tuck himself in. He's like, no, Cruz, don't shoot me, don't shoot me. Tucks himself in above the patio furniture and finally gets himself safe. So, ulti cancelled out, doesn't get himself a great deal.
And Kib is trying to do what he can, poking from around back, but there is a big ultimate. It's going to catch one. Buds will respond, though, so Kib and Buds making,
a quick double from Kib there, and he gets a push on through. Buds is going to try and do what he can. He gets in there. You can see he's found himself more up close and personal. That's going to get himself the support down. Very even fight between the two as Kib climbs up on high, gets himself a glance of Cool Matt, sucks a couple of shurikens in the butt and slides on through. Doesn't manage to get himself the kill after all. IDDQD blocked out, defends it out there, but Buds is back in action. Death Blossom flies on through, and while they're trying to keep the point alive, Buds replies and gets himself a triple once again. This man is off the chain.
Yeah, that battle lasted for a good 30-40 seconds there. It was very difficult to call, but in the end, Buds able to drop the Death Blossom, getting the 2 kills that his team needed, and they're going to hold just fine here on the Streets phase. Unfixed by himself on the point, actually in a little bit of danger. Of course, he can teleport backwards.
The back door, they're all up on the top. They're just ignoring the fact, and Reunited just pushed on straight through. Fnatic suddenly slow to react, get around the backside, but Balotage has already got IDDQD down. This is a disaster for Fnatic. They've been caught totally out of position. They were trying to sit and hold the high ground. Reunited were not interested in any of that nonsense. They just pushed straight up in the front door, said, thank you much. Our payload is going up to the next point.
And a very uncharacteristic mistake there for Fnatic. They did not push together as a team, and because that payload started moving, I think they just panicked a little bit. Maybe someone went in before the call was made. The shot caller, Vonethil, maybe he made the call and his team didn't follow. Who knows what happened, but Fnatic, for once, looking kind of out of sorts.
I don't know how they didn't see it, because Stoop was on the Winston so far forward. He was looking ahead and it's like, guys, they just all ran beneath me. Should I do anything? should I go for it? The aggression, though, from Reunited, that backfires. They tried to get in early and get a bit of damage down there, but you can see the kill feed is very much even between them as the payload makes its way into the final studio section.
Yeah, that did backfire pretty substantially there. It allowed Fnatic to finish up getting 5 ultimates. Stoop still pretty far away, but 5 is a lot. As both teams are somewhat stacked, though.
Where's Balotage? That's what I'm wondering. Where's he gone? Is he looking for a flank? Yes, he is. He's looking for the flank. He's up on high, but he's going to get spotted out. Volunthal giving him very much the information required. Death Blossom goes through, doesn't get himself a kill. Crew's going to take him very low, will get picked off. Didn't choose to go for sound barrier there, so I think Reunited accepting their fate that they're going to get picked off, accepting Fnatic to try and use a lot of ultis. But the problem is, it was only Buds. Only Buzz used his ulti. Everybody else held on to theirs. You can still see Cool Matt, Vonethil, IDDQD, all sitting on those ultis. Custer obviously used Transcendency as well to push on through, but Reunited didn't use a single thing there. They just sat on it and sat waiting. Unfixed making a change. Unfixed going on to Winston.
Okay, no more Zarya in play here. A little bit surprised, but I guess it makes sense. You're able to tickle so many people when they're all bunched up like this. And of course, when Winston is hitting more than one person, he's doing a great job, and that's a whole big group.
There's so much going on in this fight. You can see Buds and IDDQD finally getting out. IDDQD already had his Deadeye running, so it's a simple double in the end. They were clumped up on the Graviton surges. It's never really a headline moment to get themselves a couple of free kills when that's like pinned in one position.
Now Reunited is going to take their time to figure out what the next step is for them. They still have been holding on to 3 of these ultimates for some time now. In that last fight, they did waste the sound barrier, but it looks like there's going to be a big flank. A huge flank is coming from the top. It's going to be the Dragon Blade. It's going to be the Death Blossom as well. Let's see how this goes.
Well, you can see the sound barrier comes out to try and counter it. Is it going to be enough? Winghaven gets the pin down. Cormac gets picked up. Buns is still alive, though. He's trying to get some damage done around the side. Comes in. Death Blossom doesn't do a great deal of damage, but he manages to chip them down. But Reunited still looking pretty solid here. Velotaja trying to go off. The payload continues to work its way through. Stoop starts swinging away. It's Reinhardt on Reinhardt action. And finally, it's going to be Fnatic that will just about hang on. Morphs, look at him in the corner. How dare you just fling out the orbs in the corner, trying to do what he can. Unfix will get cleared. And Reunited still yet to close out the map. We're inside 1 minute, already at 8+ minute time. It's a big time. Reunited, can they even finish the map?
Yeah, phenomenal play from Buds there, because a lot of those ultimates from Reunited were managing to connect in some way. Yes, no kills were collected, but they were connecting, yet no one died. Buds response.
You can see Winghaven trying to bait out any Earth Shatters, anything in there. Keeps dropping the shield, trying to bait something out, see if there's any ultis left alive. Kip gets in, but Custer around the side. Death Blossom comes through from Velotaja. Only nets himself the single kill on Coolman. Less than ideal. Sound barrier keeping IDDQD alive, and now Transcendence comes through. They have to just try and force them off the spawn, but until that Transcendence wears off, they can't even get themselves a clearance. And it looks like it might well be going to overtime here. Reunited, they're coming in with one last chance.
Yeah, one last chance, but they are down 1 in this fight. Cruz will use his sound barrier, though, so the team has extra survivability. Stoop is out of position as well, but he's doing damage. He's going to take down Velotaja. So, Fnatic off the Earth Shatter there. Velotaja going down. Stoop with just only 150 health. Clutch play, though. I think it was what his team needed, and they're going to seal the deal on Hollywood. Not let Fnatic, or excuse me, not let Reunited set a time. And
I mean, why they didn't set a time, distance-wise, it was very much on the point. I mean, they pretty much need to finish the map. So while it's obviously, it does give you a bit of a high five. You know, you've got 9+ minutes to finish it off with obviously the added overtime you can reach. But you know what? I've seen Fnatic struggle in this map so many times. I'm not quite getting ahead of myself and thinking we might get a map 5 out here. I'm thinking Fnatic still in a real tough situation. They struggled so many times in that Wild West section themselves. We saw Reunited in the end just switching them and say, you know what, we're just going to walk underneath you and you're going to have to attack us. And Fnatic were like, oh, what a sneaky strategy. We didn't think of that and got caught out.
I mean, that's the trickiest part about holding high ground on not just this map, but most maps. It's when do you drop down? When do you decide enough is enough? We have to get on the payload. It's moved too far. And unfortunately for Fnatic, they weren't able to do that, make that decision in the clutch moment. But at the end there, did you see the Fnatic guys? They looked ecstatic about the fact that they were delighted, able to stop this payload from getting to the final point. And I think this bodes very well for Fnatic. If I have to predict, I think they're going to be able to do this.
We talked about it with the Misfits game, how Fnatic have struggled defensively a number of times. Now they're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves. They've held Reunited, both on Dorado and now on Hollywood. They've stopped them capping out the point, stopped them finishing a time, which in itself is effectively a victory. I mean, you have won the map effectively. Now, the question is, we are in competitive. Can they stop them reaching 72-90? Reunited, you can see what they picked. Very much standard picks, but Fnatic, we are seeing Buds once again on the hog.
Yes, on the hog one more time, and I like this strategy here on Hollywood because you're able to knock down Winghaven's shield so much quicker once you have that Roadhog in play. And with 3 tanks, there's a whole lot of survivability. Gonna be easy for Coolmat to get a good amount of charge as well, so he's kind of like a third DPS teammate.
Immediately flings out the hook, doesn't manage to obviously get anything. The shield goes, but Nat's gonna get dropped down pretty quickly. You can see Reunited. Winghaven doesn't want to keep that shield up as long as he can because he knows it's gonna get chunked down faster and faster. IDDQD looking to get some free shots as the shield is no longer available. Does manage to find one. Unfixed, look how low he just went. 2 shots from IDDQD, almost picked him completely off there. Shield finally gets himself back recharged, but Fnatic are doing some serious damage on the initial exchange.
Though. Winghaven coming from the side, able to get a huge charge onto Buds, taking him out of the action. And that was very important because Winghaven was totally out of position as Reinhardt. Reinhardt, you need to have that shield up protecting your teammates, but he made it happen.
Kib on the flank comes around the side. You can see he's going to try and look to get him, drop down on IDDQD's head there. Does manage to take Stoop's face off. Mort manages to get himself the kill on the score sheet. So, 3 minutes and counting. Reunited, that was a pretty slow effort from Fnatic. You can see what they were trying to do, they're trying to work it. Obviously, that's the whole point of Hog. You want to land yourself a hook. But Winghaven, like you said, good charge, working well, and holding that shield. And you can see the position, he's tucking around the corner, so he can hold it for as long as possible.
Yep, he does not want that Roadhog to get any free hits on his shield, but that said, it's such a risky play because do you shield your teammates or do you let the shield go down? He has to make so many split-second decisions.
Deadeye from Valataja has to be respected by Fnatic. It forces them back. Stoop goes in, too deep. Winghaven does get picked off by Bud, so both tanks down for either team now. And IDDQD is going to have free reign with the Deadeye. And quickly the Reaper tucks, everybody runs and scatters. Run and hide. IDDQD is coming, but Valataja has your back, and he will have his number. And Reunited hold strong against Fnatic once again.
Where did Valataja even come from? He was completely taking IDDQD off guard. IDDQD turned the exact wrong direction.
Surge unfixed. Yeah, I'm not sure about all that.
That must have been a finger slip because it couldn't have possibly. Well,
that's a big ulti to waste there. That was around the corner. He didn't get anything with it.
Oh, now look at this position for Kib. Kib is by himself. He's from flanking position. He's going to get Custa.
Gets himself around the side. Custa goes down, gets in and out. Vonethil chasing on his own. What is he doing? Kib just goes, you know what? I'm going to hit the copter key, try and do what I can. Vonethil trying to keep bouncing around. He's doing a lot of damage down. We'll finally take him out. Kib down to 83 hit points. But 1 minute and 25 seconds and counting for Fnatic's competitive mode right now. This is it. They will go out if they do not do this in the next minute.
All right, Fnatic fans, it's time to give them your energy because only 1 minute remains for them to try and take this first point. If they don't capture it now, they are down and out of the entire tournament.
Stoop's got his Earth Shatter ready and waiting to go. You see the shield hanging, holding steady, but he's been picked off to the back by Valataja. That's a disaster. Fnatic, they didn't have his tanks back. Valataja going off, gets himself another. Buds goes down. Fnatic have to respect this. They have to back away. There's only 50 seconds on the clock. They've got to be careful. Exit frags are a thing, and Valataja gets all 3.
Are we about to see a EU finals lead?
Yes.
It is very, very possible as Reunited just has to hold for 35 more seconds and they will have secured their spot in the grand finals. Can Fnatic do it? They don't have many ultimates to their name, although they will have both support ultimates up for this next fight. That is what is going to superpower them in this engagement.
Deadeye comes out. IDDQD looking, hunting for targets, but everybody is well trained. They go hiding, seeing what they can find. Kip tries to get the flank around. Transcendence comes out. Earthshatter gets a great big 0 from Stoop as they try and push on through. Fan the hammer from IDDQD, trying to get himself the targets, but Cruz manages to survive. Valataja chimes in with a Deadeye, gets himself the triple, making a quad kill for Valataja as he goes off. Fnatic are wiped out. They are out of the tournament, and Reunited will face Rogue in the final as they take it 3-1.
What a crazy series of events, not just now, but earlier today, as well as Envious had gone down. We had thought that North America was looking so strong in this tournament, yet Fnatic's dreams are crushed by one man. Valataja, in the end, makes it happen for his team, and I can't help but wonder where was IDDQD in that game. Custa played well. The entire team played well. Stoop played well. We saw huge moments from Buds, but man, Valataja just felt like he came out on top of those McCree battles.
Absolutely. I mean, Stoop was left hanging a number of times. Fantastic stuff, though. Congratulations to the Reunited boys. And what a battle we have on our hands. We saw it in the group stages, Reunited versus Rogue. It went the distance. It went to a tiebreaker. It went beyond distance. And we're hoping we can, of course, see the same thing once again in the finals. Of course, Rachel is going to be grabbing hold of one of the players. You can see them congratulating each other. Good sportsmanship from these teams. They have boot camp together for a week, so they're very much friendly between them. They were, I even came out while these other semifinals was on. They were just having a chat downstairs, like, you guys are about to face each other. You can't talk. You're enemies now. This is not friendly time. But Bud's on your screen. He did what he could for Fnatic, honestly. By far their best player for this tournament for me, alongside Cool Matt. But Reunited, Valataja on your screen there, you can see the man with the beard. He's been around in esports for many, many years, but by God, did he just deliver on Hollywood.
Thank you guys so much. I'm here with Kib. You guys might recognize him from such feature films as The Kill Feed, because you have been destroying everyone you've played against this weekend. How does this feel?
I mean, when I started playing Overwatch, I was trying to go pro in the game, but I never expected it to be this good and get here this fast. and just been a great series so far, and I'm proud we got this far.
Well, I don't know how you keep up this level of play. Your coach told me that they found you on the leaderboards. They reached out to you and they brought you onto this team. I don't know many players that get discovered quite like that. What was it like to be reached out to initially?
Well, when I heard about them finding a new player, I contacted Wing, and then they found me on the leaderboards as well. So, again, I never expected to get this far just by the leaderboards either.
And what is the most important thing to you when you sit down and you play this game?
Just stay calm and make sure I'm doing my job.
Well, you're doing a great job at staying calm. Kib, thank you so much for coming to talk to me. Is there anything you want to say to all these people before you head into the final game of the Overwatch Atlantic Showdown?
Thanks for all the supporters that support me and Reunited. It's been a great series so far, and we'll make sure to keep it up.
All right, guys, give him that support he was so grateful for. We're going to let him get ready in his seat. Don't go anywhere because the final game is about to begin. Analyst desk?
Yeah, and that was our second semi-finals. We do have our finalists decided now. Let's talk about the matches we just saw. Reunited performed incredible well. However, Mitch, you still had some stuff to nitpick on.
Oh, yeah, well, obviously they didn't finish the attacking half, which is obviously not ideal. It means that you have to full hold Fnatic to actually win the map there. And they did, right? That's fine. High ground is a very important part of this map, especially on the second phase, right? It's a bit of a buzzword. We throw it around a lot. We don't actually talk about what it means. For Reunited, what it meant is that they had to take a non-optimal path to get to the payload or to move it across in that Wild West phase that they would have liked. They had to go through a choke point, and you saw when Buds came spinning down on that Reaper copter there as well. Ideally, what Reunited wanted to have done was actually